And Deputy Superintendent Norm Anderson, I am sorry I did not address you 2 weeks ago. I've stood at this podium countless times, but I have never gone first. So I will say that I was employed by Clovis Unified for 24 years. My boys graduated in 2001 and 2003. Many coaches in here mean a lot to us because they coached our boys. And I organized baccalaureate for Clovis West for 11 years. So I have a very long history with Clovis Unified. With that said, Dr. Erica Anderson is a conservative transgender psychologist who is licensed in several states, including California. Dr. Anderson was the lead psychologist of a gender clinic at the University of San Francisco and is supportive of trans healthcare of minors. However, Dr. Anderson made her gender transition, in 2011 at the age of 60, was quoted in conservative outlet Breitbart saying that, quote, educators should be obligated to out their children to parents even if the child is concerned about backlash. Parental involvement is necessary because the children who do well and do not suffer significant psychological problems when it comes to gender dysphoria are those who have family support. And withholding information from parents is hugely problematic. As I said 2 weeks ago, I trust each of you. And please vote to adopt a written parental notification policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 2, please. Yellow form number 2.
My name is Barbara Ranjan. I'd like to talk about eugenics, which is fake science. In eugenics, the elitists and globalists, they want to take an omnipotent, in other words, a place of, quote, God, in creating humans and push for human transformation, which is really what's happening right now. And use artificial intelligence and pretty much to take over nature. Oh, God, I forgot what I was going to say. In cults, they want to separate people from their families because it's easy to brainwash them. And that's what's happening here if you want to separate children from their families. I'm going to go over this list real quick and get back to it. There's weaponized food, weaponized seeds, destroying of our farms, weaponized viruses, which is what the COVID was, a gain of function and making viruses more dangerous, which there's no oversight, population culling, which is murder, weaponized jabs, muzzling, which is masking, and it's really not your choice, it's being chosen for you. They want to change our language, they want to reinvent biology. I can see children having sex with adults, and that's going to be acceptable in the future. Eugenicists are experts at mind control and browbeating. Why do you have cat litters in classrooms, and why do you have furries pushing for their rights? Why do you have human hair grown on mice? Are we leaving for human hybridization, bestiality? The globalists want to track all aspects of our lives, and everyone in this room is in danger and risk of that. Nobody here is immune. Nobody here is free from what the globalists and elitists want to do. They want total control over our lives, including where we go, what we do, mind control, thought control. I can see incest in the future, more pedophilia, child trafficking.
Thank you so much. Feel free
Reduction
to
of our
share.
medical freedoms.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, please. And if speaker number 4 wants to be ready, you'll be next. So feel free to come on up here and we can keep this process moving. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kay Aradaberry. Thank you for listening to me. We are here to discuss some very serious issues. The parental notification policy, I can't even believe this is discussed. I can't believe that there's even an issue as to whether we should keep secrets from parents. In my years in education, if a child had any kind of injury on the playground, an altercation with another student, First thing you do, you notify the parents. And now we're talking about things about abortions, about transgender therapy. These are serious issues. You've got to tell the parents as soon as you can, as soon as you find out about it. Another serious issue is transgenderism. This has kind of really come up in the last few years. I decided to do some research on it. There's lots of information. There's books, articles, podcasts. I found one of the books that was really good. This is written by a man who lived as a transgender woman for over 8 years and then decided it was a huge mistake to transgender, and he transgendered back to being a man. These are the testimonies of 30 people who made the same error. They were not given enough information. They had a lot of pain. They had surgery, transgender therapy. It's an amazing book to read, and I ask you to do a lot of research and really be aware that we need to get the parents involved, and the parents need to do research also. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 4 and speaker 5, you'll be next. If you want to come on up.
Good evening, Governing Board and Superintendent Fulmer. I've had grandchildren that have graduated from Clovis. A federal judge just blocked a school district in San Diego because the district wanted to force 2 Christian middle school teachers to keep parents in the dark about their children wanting to change their gender. U.S. District Judge Bonita said, "No, you can't do that because you are violating the teacher's constitutional First Amendment rights. This is a game changer and the first of its kind. So please jump on board with this. And I caution each of you to give consideration to what you sign your name to. Each of you have a conscience, but when it comes to people signing ABs and SBs like these into laws that are on the governor's desk today to be signed, it means their conscience has been seared over as with a hot iron, according to God's word in 1 Timothy 4:2. And I know that each one of you are parents or grandparents, and I know that you care what happens to your children just the same as we care about what happens to our children."
Thank you very much. Speaker number 5 and speaker 6, you'll be next.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent. Josh Fulfer, lifelong Clovis resident, have my daughter at Buchanan. Today, I stand before you to advocate for equality, equity, and inclusion within our district. It is crucial that we recognize the importance of involving parents in decisions that directly impact their children's lives. By implementing parental notification, we can ensure that all individuals, regardless of their background, have equal access to information and support. First and foremost, parental notification fosters equality. Every child deserves to have their parents involved in their life, especially when it comes to significant decisions regarding their health and well-being. By notifying parents, we are acknowledging their fundamental right to be informed and participate in their child's life. Equality means treating everyone fairly and providing equal opportunities, and parental notification aligns perfectly with this principle. Equity is another essential aspect of parental notification. Equity means recognizing that different individuals may require different levels of support to achieve the same outcome. By involving parents in decision-making process, we are ensuring that each child has the access necessary resources and guidance they need. Parental notification allows parents to provide emotional, financial, and logistical support, ensuring that their child's needs are met. Furthermore, parental notification promotes inclusion. Inclusion means creating an environment where everyone feels valued, respected, and supported by involving parents. We are acknowledging their roles as primary caregivers and recognizing their unique perspective. Inclusion means embracing diversity and ensuring that all voices are heard. Parental notifications allow parents to contribute to their insights and experience. I just hope you all make the right decision in this, and please don't let these folks from Fresno Unified influence your decision on this. We've always prided ourselves in not being Fresno. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 6 and 7, you'll be next.
Hello, my name is Brent Burdine, lifelong Clovis resident, graduated from Clovis High. My sons attended, graduated from Clovis schools, and someday I hope to have my grandkids also go to Clovis schools. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. And it's recently come to my attention that Clovis has already had kind of a policy of parental notification. It has been well publicized, and I hope for it to be made public, clear to everyone. But I want to appreciate, and I do appreciate, that you see to the safety of the kids, that you're maintaining the rights of the parents, and you're also seeing to that the school district, the population still has faith and trust in the board in maintaining our rights. And this is September, and I believe at the last meeting you talked about September being Suicide Prevention Observance Month. And parents are considered the first line in suicide defense. In the 2022 Fresno County Board of Health survey, half the parents who had lost loved ones to suicide never knew that their children had problems. And I pray that none of you ever hear a parent, a grieving parent, ever have to say, oh, only if I would have known that there was an issue or a problem. Your role is here to protect the kids, maintain our rights, and I hope you can continue to do that. Despite the criticisms you hear, you guys have done a really good job in Clovis. You maintain excellent schools, safety in our schools. Everybody wants to go to Clovis schools. The proof is in everybody's feet coming here to Clovis. So thank you for the good job you've done. Despite the changes that are attempting to come our way, we can maintain our Clovis way of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 7, please, and 8, you'll be next.
Good evening. I'm Rick Wood. I live in Clovis. I'm a father and grandfather to 5 Clovis Unified graduates. I got a couple more heading your way. Be a few years, but hopefully they'll get here as well. I'm here tonight to encourage you as a board and to commend you and to thank you for standing with the parents and their children when a child indicates that they might be experiencing confusion about their gender. Notifying parents is the right policy. It's the moral high ground. It acknowledges parental rights and places the decision-making in the hands of parents where it belongs. Now, the ideals we're talking about here are not arbitrary. They don't find their origins among men, but rather these principles reflect the heart and will of God. The order of creation itself establishes the model for the family, and it places children in the care of their parents. The solutions for gender confusion isn't to isolate the child from their parents and privately counsel them to transition socially or otherwise without parental knowledge or consent. These approaches have already resulted in irreparable harm and irreversible damage to children elsewhere. The real solution is the hope offered in God's Word to those who may have already been subjected to failing methodologies. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, the Apostle Paul writes a letter to a church in the city of Corinth, and he reminds them of God's love and the hope that it offers. This is what he said, and remember he's writing to a church. Or do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Don't be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor homosexuals, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor swindlers.
Thank you very much. Feel free to share the rest of your thoughts via email. Thank you very much for your comments. Number 8, please. Number 9, you're next.
Good evening. My name's Bill Scott. I've been a Clovis resident for over 40 years. My son went to your schools. My grandchildren went for a couple of years. I belong to 2 organizations where I mentor children. Both of these organizations require that I take a child protective training class from the state. It's made very clear I will be removed and possibly arrested if any of these children come into contact with pornography through me, even if it's unintentional. The class says the worst thing I can do is tell a child, this is our secret, let's not tell your parents. I could be arrested and charged with the crime. The training calls that a red flag for grooming. And if I hear someone else doing that, I must report them. This is what you're considering introducing to Clovis schools. How did that happen? Was there some meeting where someone said, I have a great idea. Let's allow repulsive pornography into our elementary schools, and when the students ask questions, we'll send them to counselors who will let them know this will be our secret, and we'll tell them the parents won't find out about it. And everyone else said, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do this. How did this moronic idea gain so much momentum that we have to be here to convince you to stop it? When you were knocking on doors and talking to various groups to campaign for your position, did any of you tell anybody that you were going to do this? Have any of you put out a position paper explaining this was your goal? You need to end this nonsense. Parental notification should and ought to be the policy of Clovis Unified School District. You haven't poked a sleeping bear, you've poked a sleeping dragon. I know these people. They're not going to let you do this to their children. This is not negotiable. This is a hill that we're willing to die on. Is this a hill you're willing to die on? You're all here in this reprehensible idea. Vote it out now.
Thank you very much.
In this
Your
nonsense.
time's up. Thank you very much. I do want to, 1 second, don't start the next clock. I do want to mention we've been doing a great job about not speaking during speakers, but during that last time I did hear folks speaking out, so if we can please remember to be civil, to give each person their 2 minutes, and everyone else will have their turn as well. So if we can keep the comments non-existent during other people's speaking time. Number 9, please.
Clovis resident Blanca Porras. Eric Mann, an influential communist in Los Angeles in 2015, said whether the issue was race, sex, or climate, the goal is to overthrow the government of the United States. And the way to completely change society was to destroy the most important civil society institution, the family. How? By instructing young children into sexual perversions. Eric Mann recruited Patrice Cullors, one of the founders of BLM, to be a Marxist organizer. Among the 13 guiding principles of BLM, there's a call for the disruption of the nuclear family. The first commandment that God gave to Adam and Eve was, go fill the earth, pertaining to their potential for parenthood as husband and wife, meant by divine design to be different and complementary, each having equal dignity and made in the image of God. Parents bear the responsibility to morally educate their children. Only satanic, communist, Marxist countries who hate God's creation, which is life, take that right from the parents. Communists must destroy the family if they are to give over our society to Satan. You swore an oath allegiance to defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The Constitution requires you to fight against communism. Parents have all rights to their children and should always be consulted for any matter affecting their children. To do otherwise would be a breach of your oath of office. This is your chance to prove you are going to do the job you applied for. They will say parents are a danger to their kids, but there is a 0.0001% of deranged parents who have killed their children, gay or straight, do not give anyone the right to take 99% of parents' rights and responsibilities.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to speaker number 10, please. Speaker number 11, if you'd like to get ready.
Good evening. I'm a Clovis resident, a business owner. I have a nephew in the district. I really believe in this issue. You know, you're in partnership with parents. You know, if you attended the first part of this meeting, we saw how incredible this district was. But you couldn't do that if parents weren't involved. This district has a history of being a leader for the whole state. And I believe that in order to keep this special relationship you have with your district, you need to have a broad written policy. I don't think it's just transgender. It might be suicide. It might be any number of medical issues. There might be something else. Any major issue, if the school becomes aware of it, they need to notify the parents so that you can continue this great partnership that you have. You have something special here, and you have a chance to make it even better by creating a written policy, actually spelling out why you want to work with parents, because they will reward you for this. Most people thoroughly believe that we need to work together. This is not a difficult issue. I truly hope you bring this back on the agenda and that you pass this. I thank you for this time.
Thank you. Speaker number 11, and if Speaker 12 would like to get ready.
Good evening. My name is Caleb Helsel. I'm here tonight to speak about the new gender identity policies recently put forth by this district. I should begin by stating that I am not a member of the LGBT community. I am straight, and I have never identified as anything other than the gender assigned at birth. What I am, however, is someone with deep ties to this district. I attended CUSD through my entire K-12 education, an education which prepared me to graduate summa cum laude from college in only 3 years. I want this district to continue to deliver the high-quality education that it gave me to all its students. It is for this reason that I was horrified to discover that Clovis Unified had adopted the student site plan. This plan would destroy the right to privacy for LGBT students in the district who want to be preferred by their preferred pronouns. Some of you on this board and in this room may feel that this is an issue of parental rights, that it is the right of the parent to be informed of their child's gender identity. Unfortunately, in the quest to increase parental rights, you sacrifice student rights. Forcible outing places all LGBT children in danger. LGBT children risk facing rejection, shunning, even homelessness from parents who do not accept them. A quarter of all LGBT youth face homelessness. 2 in all 5 of America's homeless youth are LGBT. The threat of rejection and homelessness is also highly unlikely to raise the test scores for LGBT students. This is what is at stake if this policy continues. The very livelihoods and futures of our students are at stake. This district taught me the value of American freedom, about freedom of speech, about freedom of expression, about the right to privacy. Don't be the district that takes those same freedoms away, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 12, please. Speaker number 13, you'll be next.
I'm Dennis McCord. I'm a tax-paying citizen of Clovis. And I want to thank the entire board, President David, Dr. Fulmer, and Deputy Superintendent Anderson for this opportunity to stand here tonight in good conscience to support you in doing the right thing. Please put a written parental notification policy on the next agenda. We've already asked this of you weeks ago, and I respectfully remind you that it is your legal obligation to have this on the agenda so we can see where each board member stands on this. Anything less than a written parental notification policy is insufficient. Let's talk about the elephant in the living room. Clovis stands for parental rights, and you've taken the moral high ground over the decades. But the time has come, the line's been put in the sand, to take a stand against the bullying that's going on in Sacramento in reaching into local jurisdiction of your right as a school board member to decide on the education of the children, and more so, interfering in the God-given mandate of parents to decide the education of their children. It's time to stand up and put this in writing. Let's not go for some sort of under the table where we're kind of doing it. Well, teachers don't understand. We have testimony from teachers that do not understand that they are required to inform parents. And I just want to say, there is hope for those that are on the other side. I was a broken, confused man myself. I was caught up in sexual immorality. I want the board to know that I found hope in Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for my sins, for your sins. He rose from the dead. He's coming back to judge the living and the dead. We will all be held accountable for the decisions that we make and the stands that we make, and taking no stand is taking a stand. And we need to know where you stand. Thank you for all your hard work. God bless you.
Thank you. Speaker number 13, please. And if Speaker 14 could get ready, please. So we have 13 right now, and Speaker 14, you'll be next.
Good evening, Board. Thank you. Thank you all for your time and your commitment to the students and the parents of Clovis Unified. I'm a parent of Michael Osmer. I have 2 students that went through Clovis Unified, K through senior years in high school, went on, they're great young men because of the standards that were set in Clovis Unified. And as a parent, and anytime anything happened within Clovis Unified, I was notified, good, bad, or indifferent. That needs to be the written policy, because I do not co-parent with the government. I am the parent. I don't co-parent with the school district. I am the parent. I need to know anything that's going on with them. There are people that are preying upon our children, confusing them about their identity, their gender identity. That's the elephant in the room. God made two sexes, man and woman. That's it. It's not changeable. It's immutable. So I'm going to urge you to do the right thing. Stand up. It's time. It's time. It's a seminal moment to stand up for our children and our parents, to put a policy in writing regarding parental notification. You guys have the courage to do that. We will back you up. We will support you. Sacramento's going crazy, instituting laws and things that are against parental rights. Please, I urge you to stand up and fight for our children. We will stand up and fight right alongside of you and back you all the way. I did read a really good book that gave me a lot of information about parental rights and standing up and being a man of courage and being a person of courage, and that was the Bible. So I thank each and every one of you. I pray blessings over you. I ask that God would bless your families and ask you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Speaker number 13, please. Speaker 13. And then Speaker 14, you'll be next.
Hey, could I just ask, we know how to number systems. Could we have these chairs up here filled with the next few ones that come up so we can have this a little more efficiency? So he's number what, David?
This is Speaker 14.
So if we got 15 and 16, 17, if you
can
come up here and help us, just would appreciate that with the time.
Go ahead, Speaker 14.
I wanted to speak again on parental rights, but I've got to say, why are we even having this debate? A boy cannot be a girl and vice versa, period. What I want to know is, where are the adults in the room? There should not be a single teacher, aide, counselor, coach, administrator, or anybody associated with this school district that encourages such nonsense. They do not belong around children. That said, I am saddened that the source of light and hope has become feckless and impotent. I can't expect school board members to be ministers of truth if the body of Christ can't manage it. As a preacher of the gospel, I see that as a whole, we have forgotten how to love the broken through their difficulties and into victory. But there's hope, Clovis School Board. A spirit of revival is upon us. We are waking up. The healing power of truth is being stirred. Hold your ground. Stand for what is right and true. Help is on the way. I'll leave you with this quote. The simple step of a courageous individual is to not take part in the lie. Be courageous, school board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 15, please.
Hello, board. I have lived in this district for 25 years. Some of the reasons for moving to Clovis were for the low crime rates and for the excellent schools here. CUSD is the only public school I will send my children to. I am proud of this board, how you fought the mandates and how you fought to open the schools early. I support parental notification of parents in schools. The schools can't even give out a Tylenol or medication without parental notification. I think something as important as a child wishing to change genders be brought to a parent's attention. To whom do our children belong? Do they belong to their parents, or do they belong to a public school funded by the state? I know this board will do the right thing. I have a son that recently graduated from Buchanan, and I have another one there right now. Just as I enrolled them in this school, I can just as easily unenroll them in this school. It's that simple. Schools need to focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic, and not teaching about genders. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 16, please.
Good evening. My name is Tammy McMahon-Gorins. I put my thing in writing so I could try to be quicker. I'm a 35-year veteran, newly retired school teacher, and I ran for the school board for Fresno Unified along the campaign trail. I met Dina and Clint, and it's great to see them here. And Dr. Fulmer, I'm so glad to see you. I'm just concerned, and so I'm involved. Teachers are to teach with integrity. It is professional best practice to never keep a secret from a parent. Federal law states parents have the right to raise their children with undue interference from the state. So I just, I'm skipping some parts, but I just wanted to say mental health teaches us that we are as sick as our secrets. I know that you're following a parent notification policy and without a formal letter presently, and I am so grateful for that. My concern is that you have teachers who are on social media purposefully stating that they're not following the policy and bragging about psychologists and counselors that are not following it as well. It is critical for teachers to not promote their political ideology. No one knew my belief system. No one knew how I voted. It's just professional best practices. Recently, 2 teachers from Escondido, Maribel versus Olson, refused to follow the district policy. You guys aren't doing that. I'm grateful for that. But they refused to follow the policy that required secret social transitioning. And the beautiful outcome is that it was determined that parents have the God-given right to know about their child's business. Another cool thing was that one of the witnesses in that case was a transgender woman who said that it is critical not to have secrets from family members. So I encourage you to do a written policy. However, if you already have such a policy, I encourage you to in-service your teachers to know what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 17, please.
My name is Ann Versola. I have a granddaughter in the system. When I first moved up here, I wanted to be in your system, but the man at the head warned me that my children would be bused from point A to point B, even though I moved in here. And at that point, we were considering, I believe, Cedar and Knees. Okay, fast forward, I've been here 36 years. I've seen all kinds of nonsense come and go. I am appalled at what people are feeling. but there's free speech and they're entitled to their feelings. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, I'm going to thank you for this opportunity to address you, because you really don't need to. I don't live in your district, but my grandkids go in your district. CSUD is known for its excellence throughout the state. That's crucial. If you stand with this written parental notification policy, and let me insert something. How would you feel, each one of you, if something went down in school and you hadn't been told? How would that sit with you? I don't think that'd sit very well, folks. It wouldn't. Not if you're a caring parent. And I can't believe the majority of you are not caring parents. If you take a stand with this written parental notice policy, other districts will watch you. They'll pay attention to you. Don't think they won't. They tell you I'm not, but I guarantee you they are. They talk about it through social media, this wonderful thing we call the telephone. It'll give all your secrets away faster than you probably even said them.
Thank you so much. Speaker number 18. And Speaker 19, feel free to come on up and get ready.
Sorry. Good evening. I'm Makwi Sochi. I live at 9198 North Recreation Avenue, Fresno, California, 93720. Let's catch up. So the last time I was here was the dress code. So at that time in 2016, my baby sister had just been born. Now she's in 2nd grade, and my other sister just started junior high this year, which means she had her student site plan changed, right? She's getting older and going to like 10 different classrooms every hour. She needs more support because this is a big change. Now, all of my sisters and I have long indigenous names that aren't in English or in Spanish, and it's incredibly difficult to say. So I go by a short American name that's easy to say and gender neutral. It really makes everybody else's life easier. And I'm trusting you all with my work badge right now because I was raised in this district from the year 1999, and I graduated class of 2013. My father was class of 1985. My family has been in this district since the 1970s. This discussion about coming out is harmful if you tell the parents. This is supposed to be a safe environment for all children. The children have the right to tell their parents when they want to come out. It is a family matter. It does not up to the district. The district doesn't need to get involved in the private matter. Your job is to protect all of our students and support them because we all deserve to be treated the same, and we all have the rights to a fair education with this wonderful district that needs to continue to support all of their students in this award-winning district. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 19, please. Is there speaker number 19? Speaker number 20 and 21, feel free to come on up if you'd like.
Hello, my name's Gina Delara, and I am the class of '84 from Clovis West. And I had a great opportunity, I guess, to actually meet Mr. Buchanan in his office. So I think back then we knew him pretty well. And he was always on the parents' side. He was communicated a lot with the parents. And I think that's what he would have had done. This is a great community, and I hope you join the rest of the schools in giving the parents the information that they require, they need as a parent. Let's give my minutes.
Thank you. Speaker number 20, please.
Hello, everyone. I would say it's nice to see you guys again, but I'm always nervous when I get here. Mostly everybody said pretty much what I came up here to say, so I'm just going to give you a personal testimony. This is very private to me. This is very personal. and I don't tell hardly anyone. I'm sure you guys heard the drug Lupron. You all heard the drug Lupron is what these giving these kids to, these are the hormone blockers they're giving these kids, okay? When I was 15 years old, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Caused me to have lots of infertility issues my whole life. Thank God I'm blessed with twins who are in the Clovis Unified School District, and they're thriving. At age 15, I was placed on Lupron. Thank God my parents knew. My body went through a million changes. Most of us know in this room what menopause feels like, and that's what it basically threw me into. Before the age of 15, I tried to commit suicide. Came off that drug, went on that drug again at 19. I was on that drug again 6 more months. 6 more months, it threw me into menopause, 19 years old. I don't know what my body's doing. Guess what happened? Within that year, I tried to commit suicide again. Fast forward to in my 20s, I probably was about 26 years old at this point, married, going through my infertility issues. The infertility doctor says, hey, we need to put you on Lupron. We got to stop your period until you're able to have children. I'm sorry, that's a lot of TMI, but this is a very serious issue. I was on that drug again another year. Within that year, I tried to commit suicide 3 more times. I saw a psychiatrist shortly after, trying to figure out what is going on with me. It's the drug. It's the drug. At 21, I was also diagnosed with osteoporosis. So now I'm on pills for that, thanks to this drug. This is what you're signing off on. This is what you're doing. People already have this mental issue with I'm
Thank
sorry.
you so much. Please feel free to share us any additional information you have. Number 21, please. Speaker 21. Okay, we'll be moving on to speaker number 22. And if 23 and 24 would like to come up, those seats are available.
Good evening. My name is Susan Patterson, and I spoke with you 2 weeks ago, so I hope I'm not too redundant, but I want to share with you again my experience. I have a daughter that graduated from Buchanan and a granddaughter at Woods Elementary, a grandson at Alta Sierra, and so I'm very thankful for what you're doing for the kids in the schools and that you have involved the family and communicated well with my kids and my grandkids. And I just want to see this continue. But I wanted to share, as a nurse with 45 years in pediatrics and 43 at a local children's hospital, that I have seen hundreds and hundreds of kids. I've helped prepare them for procedures and for surgery. And the most important people to them at that time are their parents, their family. It's critical that they have that support. And whether they're going for mental health issues or suicide prevention or issues with gender identity, they need their family involved. I've seen horrific child abuse. I know it happens, but it's the exception. Most of us are good parents. We would lay down our life for our kids, but we need to know what's going on with our kids. We need to be there for them in all circumstances. So I just request and trust you to make the right moral decision to give parents the opportunity to support their children and to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 23.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Dr. Rabbi Laura Novak-Weiner. I've been working in education and a leader in the faith community for over 30 years, and I'm an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. I think what's really important here is that you are a school board and that this is about the education of our children. This is not about faith. Each family and each child has their own faith and needs to be able to navigate on that on their own. Research shows that the emotional state of children in the classroom impacts their success in the classroom, and our children need to feel safe physically and emotionally, and they need to have dignity, and they need to be treated with dignity. Our children need to be able to process and understand their own identities with the people who they feel safe to have those conversations with, and whether that's their parents or their faith leader or a friend or an older relative, whoever that may be. But we cannot force teachers to out children before children or teens are ready to come out and share their own identity formation process with their parents. So the dignified way to respect our students and their rights is for them to be able to come out to their parents in their own time and in their own way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 24, please.
Good evening. My name is Lori Pasante, and as I was listening to comments advocating for a parent notification policy, I was hearing many things that I've heard before. In 2019, when a Southern Poverty Law Center hate group started organizing parents around these kinds of issues that obviously produce very strong emotional reactions. The organization is called the Pacific Justice Institute, and I encourage every single one of you to look it up and read that their tactics are disinformation. And indeed, a huge amount of some of the most visceral things that have been said tonight are 100% false. The disinformation is what is your duty as educators to make sure that we are rooting out and being very clear about the facts about our health, about our history, about our community. And I would strongly, strongly encourage us to have parent education processes instituted that can help all parents become the kinds of parents who, like my close family member, felt comfortable coming to me when they wanted to talk about something this personal and this deep. Because ultimately we want all of our parents to be that trusted person. And I really encourage you to think about and hopefully investigate the influence of this hate group in this room right now. They are very well funded, they are very well organized, and word for word, I've been hearing their talking points tonight. I don't think you want to be aligned with that. Thank you.
Speaker number 25. 25, yeah. And for 26 and 27, there's room for you up here if you'd like.
Sorry, there's too much cheering for me to hear you. Jennifer Cruz, she, her pronouns, Clovis Unified School District parent and Clovis High School alumni. Several years ago, Clovis Unified put together a mental health and wellness team in response to multiple student suicides in your district. That team did a bunch of great work and represented all students. They also developed a gender-affirming plan that was used in your schools until March of this year. We know leaders wanted to update to student site plan, and the district had a law firm make presentations about exactly what California law requires on this issue, and then they rolled out the student site plan directly in violation of California state law. This change was implemented with no vote from your board, no notification to the public, no formal written policy in place. And as a student of Clovis High School in the 90s, I was overtly discriminated against by staff, administration at Clovis High. I was harassed and bullied by students, and on occasion by teachers in Clovis. Because of my job today and the teens that I have at Clovis schools, I hear about continued discrimination of LGBTQ students weekly in 2023. I watched tonight as members of this parent right group intimidated young people with rainbow flags, and one of them even spouted anti-LGBTQ rhetoric at me. I'm here today to demand that you revert immediately back to your gender-affirming policy that was put in place before March, and I want you to know that advocates are collecting information from students who have been negatively impacted by the change to the student site plan, because it's a violation of their student rights. You're causing harm to their mental health, and there are many legal advocate organizations working statewide to hold accountable all districts who blatantly disregard California state law and school ed codes. We know you can make this change with no board vote, with no public notification, with no formal written policy because you did it in March. And it was in a move to break the law voluntarily. However, I encourage you strongly to write
Thank
your
you so much.
policy
Appreciate it. You
on the side of the law.
Anything additional you have. Number 26, please.
Hi, I'm a Clovis resident, taxpayer, and parent, and I came to discuss the safety and dignity of our transgender students. The legal practice of outing these students to unsupportive family poses grave risks, including emotional distress and suicide. Making the form voluntary may skirt the legal definition of involuntary outing, yet it's still denying trans kids their rights and potentially leading to costly legal battles. To be clear, school-provided gender-affirming care involves honoring chosen names and pronouns, not schools starting kids on hormone replacement or medical procedures. We must prioritize student safety over parents' right to know, allowing students to come out on their own terms. We have a solution at hand. I urge the board to consider readopting the gender affirmation plan that was previously under consideration. This plan offers a compassionate solution that respects students' identities while safeguarding their well-being and complying with the law. I encourage every parent in this room to be the parent that creates a safe, inclusive environment who does not need to find out from their school that their child is trans. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker 27. Speakers 28 and 29, we have room for you up front.
Daniel O'Connell. If you were a gay, queer, transgender student in your own district, after witnessing what you're seeing tonight, would you feel comfortable? I'm not sensing in this room love and care for students. I'm sensing hatred, misinformation, fear. So the policy that's before you requires some nuance. Recently, my organization hosted some trans youth to speak to their issues. One of the big things that came forward was when they did tell their parents about what was happening to them. This is the core of their identity, their personhood, right? I mean, literally, I had students there, I had young people at that meeting saying that they were homeless. And I have to say, some of the parents here, I think, might kick their kids out of their house. And we know the statistic that actually does happen. So this is a nuanced policy. Many of these kids will commit suicide given the traumas that they're experiencing. In fact, this meeting tonight is a trauma. I wanted to say to the young folks in the LGBTQ community that's here tonight that you're loved, that you're of value, that I'm with you, that I'll keep speaking out. And for these folks that are parents and are concerned about the possible ramifications of this, I would just try to move towards more love and care, and that's something that you should be trying to get in your policy here as well, nuance. Ideally, these kids will be coming to their parents and their family to talk about it, but in some cases, that's not going to work well and they're going to be vulnerable. Thank you.
Speaker number 28, please.
Hi. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Dr. Kat Faubert, and I'm an associate professor at Fresno State. I have the privilege of teaching amazing Clovis graduates, and it's an honor. I'm here to support the statements already made about the harmful effects of the student site plan that requires the presence or consent of the parents and guardians to access gender-affirming facilities, update their names, and their sports participation. As Clovis Unified board members, you have taken this position because of your commitment to student success. You wouldn't be up here long nights hearing from all of us. So I can safely assume that everyone in this room cares about our students, regardless of where we stand on the issue. I think we can all agree here that we care about our students. We want our youth to thrive and survive. So the issue is not about care, it's about survival. What are the policies that ensure youth survival to adulthood? As a researcher who studies LGBTQ youth, we have over 3 decades of research showing that the best way to ensure our trans and LGBTQ youth survive until adulthood is by creating safe and affirming spaces in our public schools. Part of that approach is protecting young people from being outed to their parents and guardians, because schools are lifelines. When we force to out themselves to their parents and guardians by requiring a signature to access gender-affirming facilities, update their names, sports participation, you leave these vulnerable youth with the possibility of facing violence or rejection at home or hiding their identities at home and school. You cannot ignore the statistics around LGBTQ youth suicide as well as homelessness. Outing contributes to that. I ask you to revise your site-specific plan requiring trans and gender expansive youth.
Thank you so much.
To get parental
Feel free to email us any
Thank
additional
you.
thoughts you have. Speaker number 29, please. Speakers 30 and 31, you have space up here if you'd like.
Hello, Board. Justin Tiso. I have 2 lovely kids going to Clovis Unified, and it is very easy if I need to take them out. It's good to see some of you board members again. I wasn't going to speak today, but then I remembered COVID, the hill that most of us were going to die on 2 years ago. How quick we are back to this hill again. By the outcome of all the people and parents that are out here today, I'm appreciative that they're here to support their kids, and they're our kids. They're not your kids. They're not Daddy Newsom's kids either. I will make the choice for my children. They don't have rights. Until they turn 18, my children, I will make the decisions for them. I will know what's right. I will know what's wrong, but it will be my decision. No one's going to hide things from me about my kids. Someone said it earlier. When you hide things from parents about kids, that's creepy. That's disgusting. That used to be called a whole lot of other things growing up, at least maybe when I grew up. But it seems like we're in the bizarro world right now. What used to be common sense is not common sense anymore. We're ups, down, left and right, but this is a pretty black and white category. It's yes or no. I support my kids. I'm there for my kids. They're my kids. They're no one else's kids. I can't believe we're even here today. But I think this sword's going to be one that a lot of people die on, and just hope for the best for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 30.
Hello, my name is Laramie Wolsey, and I'm an educator. When I worked in Madera Unified, I hung an all-inclusive pride flag in my classroom, and I built relationships with many students on the foundation of being an ally, uncontested by parents or administration. So you can imagine my surprise when I came to Clovis Unified in 2022, and at the beginning of the second week of school, I was told that the parents had written and called to complain, that I had to take my pride flag down. But what those parents didn't know is that during that first week of school, when the flag was up, I had a staggering amount of students quietly tell me how much it meant to them to see an adult on campus that supported them. Many told me that they did not feel like they could talk to their parents about their sexuality or pronouns because if they did, they would be rejected to one extreme or another. Many of these students were students who later in the year came to me struggling with issues at home and in some cases suicidal ideation because they believed it would be easier to be dead than to be someone other than who their parents wanted them to be. I cannot imagine how hard it must be to live in a home with adults who would not accept their child for who they are. And I can also not imagine what might have happened to some of those students had they not had an adult like me on campus that they could safely turn to. Why did these students come to me and not to their parents? Because they knew that I was a safe person to talk to, who would not judge them or invalidate them or otherwise harm them. I earned their trust. And while I value the parent-child relationship and would hope children feel safe to share this part of themselves with their parents, it remains a reality that that is not the case for many CUSD students. If parents and guardians want the privilege of knowing who their child is, they need to become a safe person for their children to share these things with willingly. Okay? They need to earn their child's trust. By allowing parents to circumvent this process of building that level of love and understanding with their child, the district is putting these vulnerable youth in harm's way. These students deserve the right to privacy, and that should be protected by our schools as CDE guidance numbers 6 and 7 dictate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 31, please. Again, 32 and 33, we have room for you here up front, if you would like to make your way up. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Shelby Feckman, and this is in response to the current student site plans that forcefully out children to potentially unsafe homes. I am a teacher at Clovis North, a proud Bronco. Before that, I was a Buchanan Bear, an Alt Sierra Bruin, and a Dry Creek Panther. And I was a child who dealt with suicidal ideation because I struggled with my identity. I did not feel safe within Clovis Unified School District. Even though my own home was loving, the lack of acceptance from my peers and school district was extremely detrimental. And now as a teacher in the same district, I've encountered many students who demonstrate that not much has changed since I graduated almost 20 years ago. As part of CUSD's positivity projects, the elementary schools recently focused on learning about open-mindedness. They used this skill to look at all sides of a problem and to try new things. I am asking everyone to take the lead of the children and use their open-mindedness to remember that we are here to protect all students, not just the ones you already know are safe at home. By creating an Orwellian big brother relationship between parents and schools, you are telling children that they are unsafe at school, a place that some students view as their only safe place. I came back to teach in Clovis because although I struggled, I know that Clovis is an excellent school district. But 1 in 3 transgender children in this country do not feel safe in their own homes. Compound that with not feeling safe at school, and Clovis Unified contributes to the increasing suicide rates and homelessness among LGBTQ+ children due to forceful outing. I know that Clovis parents love their children and it is their job to prioritize them, but it is our job as teachers to think about the needs and safety of all children every day. Forcefully outing kids denies their need for safety. To the board, I ask you to consider the legality of the actions that you are taking. Forced outing of children is illegal. Clovis Unified is a leader in California academics. They take care of their kids' mind, body, and spirit. To enact a policy that flagrantly misinterprets Ed Code is to tell students that the Clovis mission is untrue. They do not care about a child's mind, body, and spirit, and you only care about the antiquated idea of the Clovis way of life, regardless of what is best for the child.
Thank you. Speaker number 32, please. 33 and 34, we have room for you up here.
Hi, I'm Ashley Williams. As I mentioned last meeting, I'm a parent of 2 CUSD students. Previously asked the board to create a parent notification policy should their child express a desire to change their gender identity. Some may state of their concerns of abuse and self-harm. I'm not saying they don't have the right to be concerned, but my rights matter. My rights matter, that's it. I'm a parent and my rights to my children trump people's concerns. I don't care who you are, I'm sorry, I am their parent. Who are you protecting by keeping this information from us? You're definitely not protecting the child I mentioned last time who was allowed to, without parent notification, without parent authorization, change her identity, well, change her gender identity, change her name. She is now allowed to go into the restroom at Clovis East boys' bathroom, boys' locker room with her boyfriend, who, yes, they both have opposite gender genitalia. So I don't know who anyone thinks this is protecting. This is unreasonable, it's unacceptable, it's ridiculous. Sorry, went off on a tangent. If the children want to discuss this type of thing with their friends, let them discuss it with their friends. Many people said it's not something that needs to be brought up at school. Perfect, get it out completely. Let it be something that the kids deal with. If they don't want to deal with it with their parents, there are other adults in their lives. It is odd that teachers would want to have these discussions about sexuality and gender with these students. It's unacceptable. People mentioned people saying, keep a secret, whatever, about your parents. You know who says that? The person that sexually abused me as I was a child told me to keep a secret. That's who told me time and time again, keep a secret. That's what I have to say. You guys need to think about the rights of these parents, these children's rights. Education codes, federal, state, your guys' policy does not say children's rights are that they get to keep these things private. We have full access to their entire record. So we need to be advised. This is unacceptable.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to take a minute just to remind us all to keep any noise down during speaking so that each person can have an opportunity to speak. Number 33, please.
Hello, board. My name is Ashens Limon. I am 18 years old, and I've lived through the K-12 system as a transgender person. I began socially transitioning at age 11, where on the first day of 7th grade, I began to go by the name Ashens. And I can tell you right now, without the support of the adults around me who allowed me to become who I am, who gave me the opportunity to express myself through the means of something as small as changing my name, using my correct pronouns, I probably wouldn't be here today. And I'm not unique in this aspect. As we all know, suicide rates within the LGBT youth community are disproportionately higher than our non-queer counterparts. And without the support from an institution that claims to value the mental health of the next generation, we won't see that statistic change. I was personally lucky enough to have a school that valued my health and safety for the most part, and gave me a place to use my name freely and my pronouns without the fear of being outed to my household. I firsthand seen the damage that outing a young person to their family can cause. I've seen the abuse that comes with it. I've seen my peers being kicked out of their houses, forced out of the lives of their families because of who they are, how they dress, their name. This situation is more than just a young person wanting to experiment with a new identity. It's safety in knowing that they have a place where they can freely be who they are. I think that we can all agree that we'd much rather have a student with a new name or new pronouns than a dead one. To conclude, I think that this whole situation is a pathetic attempt to make a political statement and is completely unnecessary and an unacademic addition to this district. Do not politicize the lives of your students. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have a speaker 34, so speaker 35, please. 35 is up now. 36 and 37 will be next.
Hi, my name is Amy Scott. I am a current CUSD teacher and have been for the past 11 years. Tonight I am speaking as a current teacher and as an advocate for our very vulnerable LGBTQ plus population of students. If myself and other LGBTQ plus staff members have felt afraid to be themselves in this district, imagine the fear of a 12 or 13-year-old just trying to figure out who they are. The other side would have you think that we are turning all our kids gay and hiding it from their parents. That is not the case. I have taught transgender students that parents not only knew, but were completely and utterly supportive of their child. In fact, their parent rights that are being discussed weren't being respected when teachers would refuse to use their child's correct pronouns or names despite multiple requests to the school. In the event that a child does not want their parents knowing, there is a good reason for that, and that reason is that they do not feel safe. We are mandated reporters. We have dedicated our lives to the education and safety of our kids. How are we going to break their trust and set them up for abuse? If a student comes to us and shares that they are being emotionally, verbally, or physically abused, we do not go and tell their parents that, do we? Because it isn't safe or legal. Telling an unsafe family about their transgender child who has come to us first in confidence is not right or legal. I refuse to stand back and allow my school district that I have dedicated my career to, filled with students that I care about dearly, to mistreat a tiny percentage of an already small percentage of some of our most vulnerable kids. They are human beings. They are special and creative and kind and weird and wonderful. They matter. They deserve protection. They deserve safety. They are always going to be people uncomfortable in this district with myself and the existence of others in my community. But it is time for this school district to stand up and say that despite that discomfort, our LGBTQ staff and students are valued here, loved here, and are safe here. Do the right and legal thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 36, please.
Hi, my name's Tracy Cisneros. I am a straight cis female, ally to the LGBTQ plus community and mother to 2 kids in the district and chosen mom to kids across all the areas and all the school districts in our Central Valley. I had an opportunity to review the form that students and staff are required to complete for the student site plan regarding gender identity, requiring parental consent. Just below the parent consent note is another suggesting safety concerns should be addressed by the school principal, leaving it to them to assess a threat to a child's safety at home and make a final determination between 2 options. 1, deny the application, force this child to live in uncertainty, discomfort, shame, self-loathing, and at home and now at school, leaving them to bullying, self-harm, and suicide. Or 2, they're forced to out themselves to their parents and face any number of abuses at the hands of parents or family members. Currently, we require teachers and school admin to assess threats in school for bombs, guns, drugs, etc., based on observations at school. But now we want to make them responsible for determining whether a home life they can't see have no experience with or concept of as a safe space for an already fragile child. So what if they're wrong? What if this outed child is cast out and homeless, seeking safety in all the wrong places? What if their decision results in homelessness and sex trafficking? What if their blind assessment is wrong and the child is beaten so severely they're hospitalized or killed? Will they be able to sleep? Will you care? I believe you would, which is precisely why laying this at their feet is wrong. My kids are in high school. It's the last place for teenagers to go before releasing them out into the world. This is where they're supposed to feel safe to explore their identity and learn to navigate their social situations. It's a teacher's job to make sure they're prepared for what comes next. And
Thank you so
that
much.
is what they need to
Thank you
get
for your
back to doing.
Number 37, please. 38 and 39, room for you here up front.
Hello, thank you so much to the board, staff, as well as the law enforcement who is here tonight. Sadly, I never thought coming to tonight's board meeting would make me feel unsafe as I was walking in and called a fag as I walked into this building. That is true. Many are talking faith tonight without Christ-like behavior. I am a parent of 2 Clovis Unified student, also a person of deep faith, and an active voter in School District 2. I believe in the fair district map, and I am here endorsing map 201 because I believe that it would be fair and just. Our family has been PTA, school site council, and fundraiser volunteers, not once talking about LGBT issues and raising well-adjusted, self-identified, heterosexual young adults, so the accusation of grooming is unfounded and untrue. It is my job as a parent to have an open and safe line of communication with my child. Not every parent offers that space. That is clear by some of the speakers and actions we have witnessed tonight. If you do not know and need the school to inform you about your child's sexuality or gender, that is clearly your fault as a parent because you are not communicating effectively with your child. A parent's right is to know grades, school events, and the ways to get involved. My question is, where do you stop at this reporting? Race? My daughter is dating a person of color. Religion? My son is going to the well instead of a Methodist church that I attend. Politics? My child is going to a student Republican club instead of the Democratic club that I brought him up to believe in. Economics? My kids are hanging out with a student who lives south of Herndon. We need to look at where we'll draw the line. It would be wrong then, and it is wrong now. Self-harm and the death of these students is sadly in your hands. My daughter is a peer counselor for one of the local high schools. I'm not going to say the name because of the way these adults, let me say these people, have acted tonight, but she tells me the stories of the peers that she serves, and they need to be able to talk in a safe environment because they're not finding it at home.
Thank you so much. Speaker 38.
Hi, my name is Allison Murphy. I was raised in Clovis and I'm a Clovis West graduate. I own a home in Clovis and I pay property taxes in Clovis. I raised my daughter in Clovis and she graduated from Buchanan High School in 2009. Proud to be part of the Clovis Unified District and proud to raise my daughter in it. My daughter struggled greatly at Buchanan High School. Chloe did not feel safe in being authentic and felt lost in feeling safe in coming out and being transgender. Some faculty members, also have not felt safe in even coming out in fear of maybe losing their job. When she finally did graduate, I didn't understand the word transgender. In fact, I had to Google this word. This was in 2009, obviously. We weren't having this discussion then. And sadly, because of the hate and anti-LGBT rhetoric she felt in school and in this community, she took her life. I had 9 months of knowing that she was transgender before she tragically passed. What is happening at Clovis Unified right now is a disgrace, and this policy of outing students is extremely harmful and alarming for their mental health. Not every child has a safe place in home. I think we know that. For them to clearly be authentic. Clearly we can hear from some of these parents tonight that they would absolutely maybe not be a safe place for them to come out to. And on a final note, and if you don't want to listen to me, look at my daughter. She is worthy of being heard tonight. She's with me. She's always with me. My daughter matters. Our children matter. We have to speak up for our transgender children so that they feel safe being able to speak at home.
Thank you. Speaker number 39, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you could please make room for speaker number 39. Speaker 39, yeah. Do we have a speaker 39? Okay, oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, thank you. My name's Karen Johnston. I'm a Clovis High School graduate, 1979. Been around a long time in Clovis. I run a Clovis business. I have 2 children that attend. One's graduated from Buchanan, the other one is a senior there. As a parent, I don't need the school district to call me and let me know that my kids are heterosexual or homosexual or transgender. I have a good relationship with them. Their gender identity and sexuality is their journey, and when they were ready, they informed me. My job is to support and love them. I don't need this school to police and report on my children's sexuality. I think back on my high school experience, and I know that I would be deeply offended if the school inserted itself into my personal business in the way that this proposal does. I had friends in high school who attempted suicide because their parents were abusive and unaccepting. Outing kids puts them in danger. Every child needs parents who care and support them, but that's not what every kid gets. This whole idea is, I think it's trying to be respectful to parents who want to be informed, but there are unintended consequences to your good intentions, and it is harmful what you're proposing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 40. We have room for 40 and 41 up here if you'd like.
Good evening. My name is Drew Harbo. I am the chapter president of PFLAG Fresno. We are the local chapter of a national organization that has worked to improve communications and relationships between LGBTQ people and their loved ones. We have served local Clovis families for more than 30 years, with multiple of our members and board being parents of youth enrolled in CUSD. When you make policy without listening to the voices of the targeted groups of people who that policy will actually affect, or even the people who are actually invested in and working with those groups of people, you tend to end up with bad policy. But the bigger trouble is that you don't understand why that policy is bad. When you replace the GAP plan this school year with the student site plan, which requires forced outing of trans and non-binary youth, you didn't listen to the voices of the youth. You didn't listen to the voices of the parents of trans youth. You didn't listen to the voices of the school psychologist union, and you didn't listen to the voices of the GSA advisors who were speaking up on their behalf. If you had listened to any of these voices, or to any of our community voices who have worked for years with, actually worked with LGBTQ families here in Clovis for years, you would have known that these students are affirmed and their lives are improved when they are given the support and agency as to when and how they come out, along with support and education for their parents. In contrast, they are placed in harm's way when they are forcibly outed before they're ready into unsupportive, hostile, or unsafe homes. And yet you make this bad policy even worse for those youth by directing CUSD staff to then file a CPS report on them, thus outing them into potentially hostile homes in the most invasive and painful way possible. As it regards this targeted group of students, with this policy, you set the house on fire yourself, and then you call 911 screaming. PFLAG and other local organizations have been here doing the support and work for years. Let us help you listen to the people who this policy affects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker 41.
Hi, Christy Urgo, lifelong resident. I've got 3 kids currently in junior high, 2 in high school. And I would respectfully ask that you notify parents. These are our kids, not the schools, not the state's, mine. I am mentally responsible, financially responsible for these kids. By you not telling me something that is detrimental to their health and well-being, I can't help them. I need to know what's going on in their lives. Mostly, I like to think that I know my kids and I know what's happening, but maybe they don't feel comfortable. but I need to know. It is my responsibility to take over the kids. You sent home, I must have signed at least 5 different notices to watch PG-13 movies. But you're not going to tell me my kid wants to make life-changing choices, potentially financially, mentally? You don't know. But I need to know. They're my kids. These are minors we are talking about. They're not adults getting to choose their own life. They are minors, and they are my responsibility, nobody else's. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 42.
Hello, my name is Sean Burdine. I'm a third-generation alumni of Clovis Unified and currently reside in the Clovis West area. I strongly support the board officially adopting a formal written policy for parental notification regarding all physical and mental health concerns, including a child requesting to be recognized by a different name or gender beyond their biological sex at school. A recent Rasmussen poll showed that the vast majority of Californians support a law formally protecting such a policy, and only 27% of respondents said they were unlikely to support it. Parents want to know what is happening in their child's life, and they deserve to know. This right and special relationship is also recognized and judicially upheld as having constitutional protection by the Supreme Court using the 14th Amendment. I understand that there have been threats of lawsuits against districts who adopt a policy as described, but the foundation for such is spurious. There is no longer a reasonable claim to privacy if the student has already shared these requests publicly at school. The issue does not have the legal grounds to supersede this parental relationship, and ignoring that relationship actually opens any staff, faculty, or district that disobeys the requests of parents and hides information to potential litigation. Any such actions taken by an individual or individuals can be recognized as illegal medical intervention by an unlicensed practitioner and can potentially be sued for damages. School districts are also legally required to provide complete student records to parents upon requests. Furthermore, no medical organization supports the idea of removing parents from the conversation, none. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the school district to create a formal written policy to help insulate themselves from any potential radical activist staff or faculty who choose to go rogue and undermine the rights of parents. Please stand with the other schools who have already taken this position.
Thank you. Speaker number 43. There's room for Speaker 44 and 45 up here at front. Go ahead. 43? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello again, thank you. My name is Angie, and I am standing with We the Parents. We the parents, when it comes to our babies, we are here. We are going to show up. We are showing up to show them how much we love our children, to display the strength that our parents, our grandparents, our aunties, and our uncles are demonstrating today by passionately showing up for our babies today. Parents are here, we the parents are here to demonstrate how we love our kids, and we will face all opposition in order to protect our kids' self-esteem, their self-identity, and the purpose that God has intricately chosen for our babies. We, the parents, are charged to teach our children in the way that they should go, and parents are willing to die on that hill. We, the parents know the world has only confusion, despair, and destruction of purpose, so it is up to us, we the parents, to provide guidance and love that the Lord blessed us to give our children through His holy word. We, the parents, while our children are in these schools learning, we put our trust in these school boards and the teachers to assist we, the parents, and to combat the deception and the lies that indoctrinate our children on a daily basis, which results in our children becoming confused and lacking self-esteem and sense of who they are. All of us have a purpose, especially our babies. And when our youth are surrounded by turmoil and confusion as as the world they have in today, that only leads to our babies wanting to end their life that they were blessed with by God. So let's teach our kids to realize who they are, that they have a purpose, and that they will always know who they are and who they belong to. We,
Thank you
the
so
parents.
much. Thank you. Speaker 43, please. Speaker number 43. And if 44 and 45 want to get ready, that'd be great. Oh, 43. Okay. All right, we're going to go to Speaker 44, please. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Sylvie Herrera. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a trans woman who graduated from Clovis North and helps take care of my little sister going to a CUSD school. My experience was already terrible at these schools. I had rocks thrown at me and I was openly threatened while teachers and staff looked the other way. I would like you to imagine how much worse my situation would have been if I had been outed to my parents and my grandparents without my permission. Now that I am out to my grandparents, I am no longer safe with them. They now hate me and I'm no longer invited to family events with them. I have been abandoned by my own grandparents now that I am out. They didn't send anything to me for my birthday, not a happy birthday message, and no congratulations on graduation. I would like you to think about what this would have done to a 16-year-old girl who is already in a terrible situation. I had attempted suicide twice because of the transgender hate that is already going on at the schools. If trans kids are outed without their permission, more suicides will happen, and you will be the cause. Do you want blood on your hands?
Okay, I do want to remind there were some people talking during that speaker. I hope that we can respect each speaker and let them have their 2 minutes. Next up, we have speaker number 45.
Good evening. My name is April Taylor Salary, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm an LNFT who specializes in the LGBT community, particularly the trans youth. Most importantly, I'm a mother to a Clovis Unified School District student. Many of you may remember me as you were on the board during the 21-22 school year when I came to every school board meeting and spoke to you about the gender acknowledgement plan and my concern in the lack of training provided to your school administrators who would be working with the trans kiddos to address their needs related to transitioning at school. During that school year, I made a great effort to speak directly with all and any of you, including Yolanda Moore, who's my area representative, Dr. Fogg, Dr. Dilly, who's the representative for my area, as well as many others. I was outraged to find that the existing GAP form was no longer being used, but replaced with a student site plan that eliminates the student's confidentiality. I would say that one of the conversations that I had with Dr. Fogg definitely had the biggest impact on why I never returned to these meetings. After he directly told me that attending these meetings and sharing my concerns publicly was not how we impact change and was unable to give me a solid example of how I could impact change, I didn't come back. With that being said, if this isn't how we impact change, can you tell us how we do? Because this current plan is not working for our children. This district has a history of holding on tightly to the discriminatory policies and ways of doing things that you like to call the Clovis way. This is another example of that discriminatory behavior. We know that 50% of trans youth who do not have a supportive household commit suicide, not attempt, they commit. To me, this is your behavior of not making a written policy as the district's way of getting around being held accountable by the state, similar to how they're holding Chino accountable. However, it is clearly a procedure as you have a published administration guidance for this.
Thank you very much. Speaker 46. 47 and 48, we have room up here for you. 46.
Hello, board. Dr. Fulmer. My name is Nadine Poyer Blumenshine. I am a Clovis resident. I am Vice President of PFLAG Fresno, and I am Central California Project Fellow for GLSEN, and I've sent several emails to you regarding this topic. I'm here with this story because first and foremost, I'm a mother of 3 children who attended Clovis Unified Schools. One late afternoon, early evening, one of my children came to me and said, "Mom, I need to talk to you, and I need to talk to you in my bedroom." So I knew it was serious. We went in, and my child sat me down and said, "Mom, I'm non-binary." And we sat down and we talked, and I held my child, and I loved my child. I was grateful in that moment for them sharing with me. I was grateful in that moment that they felt safe and secure and able to share with me. From that moment on, both me and my husband only accept that child, we only love that child. They're our child. I want to tell you, though, that before this child came to us, they went to friends. They went to books to read. They went to other people that they trusted. They talked to other people for months before they came to us, before this child came to us. And I am, again, so grateful that there were people around this child to support them and to listen to them as they reflected and learned and thought and agonized over what the world might give to them, as we're hearing in this room, if they came forward as non-binary. Please, as you're thinking through this policy in the future, know that it doesn't always take a parent to be the safe person for a child to figure out how they want to be in the world and how they feel safe and how they feel loved and how they are accepted.
Thank you so much. Speaker 47, please. 48 and 49, we have room for you up here.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Kai Walker, and I stand before you on behalf of Equality California. We're one of the organizations that's been working with school boards who are trying to pass policies like this, and also as a member of the queer community in the Central Valley. Across the country, we've seen an alarming increase in the number of bills and policies aimed at restricting the rights of LGBTQ people. These policies want to separate children from their families, criminalize the existence of trans people, and erase the right for queer people to exist safely in public. This hateful rhetoric does not exist in a vacuum. Queer youth are facing extraordinary physical and mental burdens that impact their well-being. According to the California Department of Justice, hate crimes motivated by anti-transgender bias increased 55% last year. And the Trevor Project reports that 73% of LGBTQ+ youth report discrimination and harassment. Creating a safe environment for queer students can mean the difference between life and death. This is not an exaggeration. Nearly half of all LGBTQ+ youth seriously consider suicide, and this number rises within youth who are trans and gender nonconforming. In California, LGBTQ+ students have the right to their privacy and to choose whether or not to disclose their gender, regardless of their age. Clovis Unified student site plans violate students' right to information and autonomy privacy, which are protected by California's Constitution. It is clear that California law prioritizes affirming trans and gender nonconforming students. As officials, educators, or simply adults, it is our responsibility to ensure that young people feel safe, supported, and respected. It is our responsibility to ensure that they have the opportunity to grow into adults. As you consider these remarks and make choices about the future of Clovis Unified, please think about the future of every student in your district. And to the queer students at Clovis Unified, you are seen, you are valued, you are loved, and there is a beautiful future waiting for you.
Thank you. Speaker 48, please.
Thank you. That's my flag. And thank you for listening to us. A lot of you maybe never served in the military, and we've been knowing each other for a long time, Mr. Olivier. I know you from a long time. You're a very, very smart gentleman, and I thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring this issue. Parents have the right to know what the students are doing. Back when I was in the military, my ex-wife kept a lot of information away from my family. My daughter was about to commit suicide because she got pregnant at an early age. Thank you to that school, they were able to send me a message before I went overseas. And because of that, I saved my daughter from becoming a suicide. Yes, she would have been a suicide, she would have been dead. And I would have been like the lady came in with a box. Thank God that the school was able to give me that information. So I encourage each and every one of you to think about it. You gotta support the parents. We align with Pacific Justice Institute that they are doing a good work. So please think, understand that we the parents need that support. So think about it before you vote about that. Thank you for your service, and thank you all of you for listening. God bless America.
Thank you. Speaker number 49. If 50 and 51 would like to come up, we have plenty of room, please.
Hi, I'm Dawn Wells. I'm a former Clovis Unified School District parent, and I'm the group leader for Central Valley Moms for America. My two eldest started school in Freedom Elementary School, and I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a time at Freedom Elementary School where you had a teacher that kept secrets from the parents. He played this game he called the lollipop game with a little girl in his classroom at recess. Secrets are bad. He was an example of why secrets are bad. You should not be keeping secrets in the classroom. My boys, they graduated in 2016 and 2020. And in 2020, all 6 of my children who were attending Clovis Unified all got sent home because I was a good parent and you thought I could handle that. And I handled it. It wasn't great, but you know, they were safe. They were safe at home with me. And I'm still safe. And no matter what lie someone tells you about Christian parents, we're safe. And nobody loves our kids more than us. You can say that you love my kids. You can pretend that you're going to be their mom, but at the end of the day, I'm their mom. I am the safety net between them and homelessness. I am the safety net between them and suicide. It's my job to be there for them if they're having a rough time. It's my job to go with them to the mental health professional and get them help. It's my job as their parent. A couple of years ago, in 2021, I pulled my kids out of Clovis Unified because you guys broke my trust.
Thank you very much. Feel free to send us your thoughts. Speaker number 50. Speaker 51 and 52, there's room up here if you'd like to make your way up. Go ahead, Speaker 50.
Hello, my name is Peyton Polanco. I am a former Clovis North student, current CUSD employee, and proud member of the LGBTQ community. Let's start this off with a few statistics. According to the largest ever comprehensive mental health study of LGBTQ youth in America conducted by the Trevor Project in 2022, of surveyed LGBTQ youth ages 13 to 17, 50% considered suicide in the past year alone, 18% attempted suicide in the past year alone, and 29% who were unable to seek mental health care cited a fear of being outed as the reason. On the other hand, those who found their school to be an LGBTQ affirming reported significantly lower rates of attempting suicide. Now, many who speak today will tell you we need to stand in support of our LGBTQ students. I want to tell you I was that student. I was a student who sought refuge in the educators and adults I looked up to when I needed someone to trust. And I want to tell you that a part of the reason that I am on this earth today is because of a teacher who is still standing in this room beside kids like me. That teacher told home on terms that weren't my own. I can't say I would have survived it, and my home is supportive. My mom is in the audience supporting me through this speech. So if you want to know what would have made me feel secure as a student, I'm happy to tell you it would have been the teachers here today showing me that they value my well-being above all else. It would have been seeing a sign of support, be that a sticker, a flag, a sign, letting me know in that room I am seen and I am safe.
By law, we as educators are bound to protect these students. And here in this room, students are not safe. I am not safe. And if you're tempted to tell me otherwise, I need you to ask yourself why you had to hire extra security to protect these students today. Ask yourself what we really need to be protecting them from. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 51.
Hello, my name is Sierra Trujillo. I grew up in Clovis Unified, went to school all through elementary and high school. I moved back here so my child could attend school in Clovis Unified. I was recently made aware of your student site plan enacted in March of this year with no public comment or discussion or vote. You've heard a lot of people here talk today about the emotional and possible physical toll that this can take on students in the district. I wanted to tell you about the possible legal implications of this policy. I thought that those were important as well. When a similar policy was recently enacted in Chino Valley Unified School District, California Attorney General Rob Bonta sued the district for adopting the policy, and a San Bernardino County Superior Court judge halted the policy on September 6th while the lawsuit continues. Bonta says the decision rightfully upholds the state rights of our LGBTQ plus student community. You can expect the same pushback as the plan is in direct violation of students' constitutional rights to not have information about themselves shared without their consent. Additionally, a federal judge in Sacramento has already rejected a suit by parents in which parents wanted to force California schools to enact policies like this. The judge cited a 2015 California law that requires schools to consult with students on who, if anybody, should be informed of their gender identity. The emotional, physical, and mental well-being of our students should be everybody's top concern. But I think the student site plan seems to be just in direct opposition of California law and policy. And it sets Clovis Unified up for yet another legal battle. Do we need to remind ourselves of the dress code issue that was lengthy and costly to all of our taxpayers here? I'm urging you to remove the student site plan and revert to the old plan in order to better support your LGBTQ plus students and also save us all time and money and don't have another lengthy legal battle. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 52. If speakers 53 and 54 would like to make their way up, that'd be appreciated. Speaker 52. Okay, moving on. 52? Okay, moving on to Speaker 53, please.
My name is Cindy Shergill. You heard from me a couple of weeks ago. I didn't want to come today, but my 16-year-old granddaughter and her two friends asked me to be here. Matter of fact, they wanted to come here in person, but I told them that's not a good idea. There'll be a pushback. You guys are still young, and your lives could be destroyed. So it's not only the LGBTQ, PRSTUV that are afraid of us, we are afraid of them too. I am not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid of the United States government. I'm a naturalized citizen in this country. I have rights. My children and my grandchildren belong to my family, the Shergill family. They don't belong to anybody else. Anything that is going on in their lives, I want to know. My son wants to know. My daughter wants to know. And for everybody who is here that keep pointing fingers at us, my son-in-law is a Petri dish baby by two lesbians. Okay? Petri dish. They weren't even made the normal way. My son-in-law. I don't call him son-in-law Paolo Ferretti. I call him my son-in-love. And every Thanksgiving, every Easter, every Christmas, they come to our house. Lisa comes to my house. She's a lesbian. Sharon comes to my house. She's a lesbian. And they live together. What they do behind their closed doors, I don't care. How they raise their son, I don't care. I care what happens to my children, my grandchildren, and of course, they will have a baby. My daughter will have a baby. All my 4 children graduated from this unified school district. My oldest graduated from Clovis Unified, from Clovis High School. He's 47 years old.
Thank you so much.
Parental rights.
Thank you so much. Speaker number 54, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. And a brag I don't get to use very often. My step-grandfather was Einer Cook, and he was an original trustee for the Clovis Unified School District. Now, I come to you as a Clovis resident, a graduate of Clovis High, and a parent of a trans student at Clovis Unified School District. The experience watching my child struggle with trying to become his authentic self has been heart-wrenching. Transitioning at school was harsh. I'll spare you the details, I don't have enough time. I was in fear for my child's life, and suicide was on the table. But we are lucky. He's faring better than many because my husband and I saw his emotional distress and chose love and respect for his individuality. My heart aches for those kids that are trying to navigate this experience alone, who don't have the support at home because their parents have insisted on seeing the world in cold black and white terms. I fear for their mental health and I fear for their lives. Yes, parents matter. I am a parent, but so do the privacy rights and mental health of our students. Perhaps we should be asking, why do some of these kids not feel safe coming out to their parents? And taking the temperature of a part of this room, I can see why. Of course, it is ideal to have parents involved. I wish that was the case 100% of the time. But when it is not possible, what do we do? The GAP plan does not remove parental rights. It protects the rights of students. If kids feel safe to share with you, they will. Keep the lines of communication open. Let your child grow in the confidence of knowing they have unconditional support. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Speaker 55. If 56 and 57 would like to make their way up, that'd be great. Speaker 55.
Hi, my name is Brighton Tompkins. I am a 24-year-old trans woman, and I'm a senior software engineer. And I have friends who go to the Clovis Unified School District, friends whose kids go. I have nieces and nephews. I was also a mandated reporter, which nice to see some representation there. I think that it's an incredibly important job, and the training that we had in order to prepare for that, and the signs that we knew to look out for abuse were incredibly important. And I think that that is an essential part of anyone who is a leader and involved with educating and building a community around children. That being said, I think people have already made amazing remarks about why outing students forcibly is a bad idea. I personally identify as an atheist, but if I was teaching a classroom and this kid said, hey, I don't say under God during the Pledge of Allegiance, is it okay if I do that because my parents won't let me? I would say absolutely, that's fine. And it wouldn't be something where I felt this need to tell the parent, because it's not one of those things where you're like, this is a secret. Anyway, I wanted to end with a quote from one of the most amazing writers, Rod Serling. So he says, "The tools of conquest do not necessarily come with bombs and explosions and fallout. There are weapons that are simply thoughts, attitudes, prejudices to be found only in the minds of men. For the record, prejudices can kill and suspicion can destroy, and a thoughtless, frightened search for a scapegoat has a fallout all of its own. For the children and the children yet unborn, and the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the twilight zone."
Thank you. Speaker 56, please.
Good evening. My name is Elle. I'm a trans person and an educator and member of the LGBTQ community in the Central Valley. I grew up in a strict religious Southern home, the same place I got my education. Even with the few Disney movies I was allowed to watch, fairy tales, and any other media depicting a straight gender binary, as a kid, I still never stopped feeling uncomfortable in my skin. Living life as I was told only took me further away from myself, and the more I tried to pursue what I was taught, the less human I continued to feel. That all changed when I met my best friend Lori, who was raised a similar way and also stated feeling the same. As we were going through childhood and finding ourselves, we wanted to be visible in the places and peers who earned our confidence and completely embraced who we were. We carried that feeling home with us and treasured it, because there we didn't feel seen in the same way that mattered so much to us at home. In fact, we faced great risk to our well-being, physically and mentally. Lori and I were talking on the phone recently, and we discussed how much that feeling meant to us as kids, how it still means so much to us today as adults. I have now been teaching social studies for 7 years. The whole time, as an adult who now has control of my free time and space, friendship and spaces cultivated by queer friends and found family are what powered me through my worst days. At the same time, like my other fellow teachers, I abide by a professional code and an oath for my training to honor all sides of the human story, visible or not. I strive to be the person I would have needed as a child. And like many of my peers, I strive to honor these smaller human stories in a way that gives them the right to advocate for their identities, tells them they have the right to be visible where they want to, until they feel they are safe and ready for the rest of the world to know. I can support any of these things and maintain my decency as a professional, as a former child who was forced into the closet, and as a down-home, loudmouth, tax-paying trans American. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 57, please. And if 58 and 59 would like to come up, that'd be great.
Hello, my name is Milo, and I'm a transgender CUSD graduate. I was absolutely appalled when I heard about this policy. It is absolutely disgusting, and it is a spit in the face to trans youth all over Clovis. If you think this policy is genuinely a good idea, you do not care about protecting students, and you do not care about protecting children. Not only does this policy actively endanger the safety and emotional well-being of all trans students, but it's also in direct violation of California law AB 1266 and Title IX of the Education Code, which protect trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming students from discrimination as explicitly stated. This is not a good use of district resources. You should not be telling children what names they can and cannot use at school or what gender they can and cannot present as. When the district forcibly outs a young trans person to their family, the best case scenario is that trust and communication built between that child and their parents is lost. If a trans youth voices concern about their safety when the school decides to out them to their parents, the school will file a report with CPS outing that child in the process. Fostering that kind of fear in a household is grounds upon which trans children can be abused or disowned. This is not to mention the fact that if a forcibly outed child's parents refuse that child's right to have their identity respected at school, that child will be dead-named and misgendered and forcibly detransitioned at school, whether they had begun the process of socially transition or had transitioned all the way or had not even started yet. Can you imagine having your identity expression taken away because the district believes that the whims and beliefs of your parents is more important than your expression and your freedom and your identity? This policy is traumatizing and killing the trans children under your jurisdiction. Remove this policy as soon as possible in an attempt to undo any damage that might have already been done, and remove this policy to protect your students and to protect your children. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 58, please. 58, sorry.
Hi, I'm Reverend Tim Kutzmark, and I serve as minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. Many of our students and families are part of this school district. First, to the members of the LGBTQ community in this room that have endured the utter trauma that is this meeting, I want you to know that there are many faith leaders who stand with you, and we proclaim your inherent dignity and worthiness. You are beautiful and you are loved. The school district should prioritize and protect the most vulnerable learners among us. We know that the most vulnerable learners among us are our trans and non-binary youth. And so for a child to feel safe, to learn, they must feel safe. If a child doesn't feel safe coming out to their parents, there's a reason, because they don't feel safe at home. Each person's journey to accept their LGBTQ identity is their own, and it happens at their own timetable. For many of us, That timetable starts going positive after high school. If someone had outed me as a gay freshman, junior, senior, I would have killed myself because I spent the 4 years of high school teetering on the edge of suicide. But if someone had told my conservative parents that I was gay, I would not be standing here today. And I know there's some other kid out there right now, if that child was outed, that child would die.
Thank you. Speaker 59, please.
Good evening. My name is Martha Lucy, and I live in Clovis, and I'm the parent of 2 children who attended Clovis Unified Schools. CUSD's core values, in CSUD's core values, the district claims decisions are based on what is best for the students' academic, social, and emotional well-being. Additionally, CUSD commits to a safe and inclusive learning environment for all students. By notifying parents of changes in their child's preferences, CUSD will rob developing youth of the autonomy that they should be allowed to experience while living their lives. Youth under the age of 18 cannot refuse to go to school and will not be allowed to exist as they feel most comfortable without the possibility of retaliation for the unknown realities that they live under. By outing children in this fashion, you will be putting these children's well-being at risk. To that end, I don't think that putting historically marginalized minors at risk at home is an appropriate decision. Non-binary or transgender children deserve all the support that they are due, and in part because of the harsh realities that they face in society. Please consider how your decision will have an impact on those youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 60, and if speakers 61 and 62 would like to come up, we have room, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alana Stevenson. I was a student in Clovis Unified, starting in the 6th grade, going to Freedom. After I went to Rayburn, I was top student both years under Mr. Barry Jager, so shout out to Mr. Jager. What's up, homie? I was Fresno Bee Academic All-Star, valedictorian, president of NHS, captain of the Science Olympiad team, math team, you name it. I'm like peak nerd in high school, conductor of the marching band all for years. Afterwards, went on to get 3 undergraduate degrees within 4 years in 3 different disciplines and got an MBA from Fresno State. I like to think I know something about exceeding and doing well in school after this. I'm on my 9th year of school, now working for a CPA in addition to my MBA. If students do not feel safe within the classroom, we've already lost the battle as an educator, which I was in Clovis Unified for 4 or 5 years. I worked in special education, and I also worked as a substitute teacher, usually in the performing arts. I think that being a safe teacher on campus and offering to use preferred pronouns, preferred names, gives the autonomy to the student, and the students themselves have rights. Now, I wish we had an ideal world where parents were supportive of their students, but I know as somebody who's worked in many different types of classroom, including emotionally disturbed classes, that that's not necessarily always the case. And sometimes the teachers and the guidance counselors and the other staff at schools is that safe person. With that, I would like for you guys to retrieve or go back to the policy similar to like we had in 2019 when I did have non-binary and trans students in my classrooms and allow them to feel safe, because that's one of the building blocks for them to exceed and excel as a Clovis Unified student. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Speaker number 61, please.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Hudspeth. I'm a Fresno Clovis resident. I have 3 children, and I have 3 grandchildren that are in the Clovis school system. And I'm here because I want the right to do what I've been commanded to do. There's a scripture in the Bible. I'm a believer. I have a right. I don't criticize anybody else who is not. I didn't come here with all this hate and whatever everybody's talking about. I came here because I want the right to do as I believe is right to do. Now, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, train up the child in the way it should go, and when it gets old, it will not depart from it. There's Proverbs that says that. And it is talking to me, the parent. It is not talking to you. So I am employing you to assist me. So we're kind of like team members. Remember when it used to be called Parents and Teachers Association? Remember that? I'm calling you to assist me. My job is to raise them, not yours, but yours is to assist me. And I told a story of a football team who all of the team members came into the huddle, and the quarterback is supposed to have a play, and everybody else has another play, and they're keeping a secret from him. I don't know what's going to be the result of that play, but I do know this: they will lose. And we will lose if we keep it secret. The children will lose, the parents will lose, and you will lose. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 62. And if 63 and 64 would like to come up, that'd be great.
Did you guys call 62?
Yes, 62, please.
Okay, I got 62 and 63, but I'm literally not going to take that much time because I'm tired, and I'm sure
Okay.
you all are tired too. My name's
That's a different
Stephanie.
person.
I'm a Clovis Unified parent. I don't really have like a spiel to say. I've spoken in front of you all before. I just want to say I think it's really important. I tend to think you all forget, right, that you are the board of the students of Clovis Unified, and you are supposed to be taking their safety, their education as a top priority. And I feel like I have come and I have spoken to you guys on numerous occasions about safety issues, about making sure that education here in Clovis Unified is the best. I'm appreciative my kids get a great education, but like seriously, like let's think about it, okay? Listening to some of those folks tonight, if I was an LGBT, a trans kid, I definitely would not go and speak to my parents and let them know where I really was. And so I really think that you guys need to take that into consideration. Some of these kids, a lot of these kids are scared, and you've heard from students, past students, who have been afraid to speak out in this community, okay? We know some of these folks that are here tonight, okay? Please, just do what's right for the students of Clovis Unified. You are the board, and you should be taking their safety as your top priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there we did have someone separate signed up as number 62. Is there a Liz McFarlane? I can't quite make out the last name. I want to make sure that that 62 wasn't just left on accident. Okay. All right, so that's 62 and 63. Next, we'll have number 64, please.
Okay, my name is Mav. I'm trans, and in 2018 I came out, and if my pronouns weren't respected, I probably wouldn't be here, honestly. I had teachers that supported me in high school when I was out, and that made the difference between life and death. Home life was a different story. I didn't have supportive parents, and one night they drove me to the ER because I had a plan, and I was gonna commit. All the nurses there tried to bargain with them to accept their kid. The social worker, gay social worker, tried to bargain with them to accept their LGBT kid. But no, because no, they were telling me I was gonna burn in hell. Do you know what that does to a kid? Honestly. There's nothing more sadistic than that. But let me get back to the topic at hand. The student site plan is deeply transphobic. It's very upsetting that you guys have been doing this since March. And honestly, I really don't have much respect for this board because of that. And you guys have just literally breached the entire LGBT community community of students in Clovis Unified by doing this. And so we have, and based on the history, I barely think that you're going to do anything, because you're probably just going to pander to these people who are putting like conspiracy theories about us in this room. I mean, it's just like absurd. Like the woman with the urn, I mean, literally, you're going to tell her that you're going to continue supporting the student site plan? That's sociopathic if you do that. It's sociopathic. It shows that you have no empathy, really. And if you think that, oh, you know, I have my mind made up about trans kids, then if facts and logic won't, you know, change your mind, the statistics we've been giving you, then honestly, I don't know what will change your mind. So please do not support the student site plan.
Thank you. Speaker 65, please. Speaker 65.
Hello, my name is Douglas. I'm known as many things: a son, a brother, an excellent neighbor, a beloved student, but to a stranger, when I walked in here earlier this evening, I was a groomer. That is something that was said to me. I do not know this person. I do not know the person who said this to me. I likely never will personally know them. And I do not know why they said it to me, specifically, a stranger, unless they wanted to hurt my feelings. That is what this is about. Not just hurting the feelings of some stranger, not just hurting feelings in general, but hurting children, hurting transgender children, hurting non-binary children, hurting queer children, hurting children who go outside of the norm. People here will insist that this is about saving children from some sort of invisible threat, or that it's about protecting children. They'll invoke religion, but they don't even know to love their neighbor. I would like to dedicate my remaining time to a moment of silence for the transgender children, both in Clovis Unified and around the world, who did not make it due to policies such as this.
Thank you so much. Speaker number 66.
Hello, my name is Annie Nguyen, and I'm a CUSD graduate. I'm speaking today in support of those who are advocating for the rights and dignities of trans youth in this district. There is a quiet policy that's been implemented without notice, requiring parental notification and consent for a school to affirm a child's gender identity. A lot of the support for a policy like this has come from an irrational fear of trans individuals in general. It is coming from parents and adults who are afraid of having this kind of conversation and want the option to silence it. This notion that parents need to be alerted of their child's gender identity implies that being trans in and of itself is a threat to the child. But the problem is not the existence of trans students. The problem is how we have been treating them. The problem is our own ignorance. Trans people have existed throughout history, and they will continue to exist. It's hatred that's unsustainable. And I don't know if you truly understand how hurtful and damaging it is to these students to allow others, especially grown adults, to continuously stigmatize them. What example are you setting for others in this district when you display blatant cultural incompetence through policies like this? Whether it be through trying to ban pride flags in the classroom, removing books from libraries that might make you feel uncomfortable, or through the personal dilemmas you have forced upon students through this policy, you are saying that you don't want these students to be seen. But they are here. They have always been here. So we could continue this cycle of having students come into this school district, leaving traumatized, getting the ACLU involved, facing lawsuits, all because we don't have the decency and courage to reflect and admit that we could do better. But I'd like to think that we can do that. If we truly care about the students here, we need to actually listen to those most directly affected by policies like this. We need to put their voices first and actively try to understand them. And with this productive attitude, we can begin to work toward a better environment where trans students can feel safe and happy, as every child deserves to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 67.
Hello, my name is Ariel Davis, and I am a recent Clovis High graduate. I met my partner at Clovis High, and what should be a proud and joyful story of high school sweethearts is tainted by the actions and lack of support from CUSD staff. I am thankful for what staff did support and were kind to us, but it is overshadowed by others that made us feel unsafe and unwelcome in CUSD schools. How can my partner and I raise our future children here and be a part of a community where they will not be treated as all children should, with love and with care? Clovis High School and CUSD schools failed us, and it breaks my heart that you would consider keeping a policy that would continue to harm students. This prevents students from taking pride in their community. This policy not only forces out students, but prevents them from having a quality education by putting them in harm's way. This school district continues to disappoint me. I and every other resident of Clovis, California deserve to feel safe and welcome. We deserve to have a school district that protects kids from unsafe and abusive homes. The amount of people from the community that have showed up tonight prove that this policy is in the wrong. But you should also consider the students that are not here, the voices that are not here, the students who wish they could be here and who I wish could come here and see the overwhelming amount of support for them. This is why we are here, for the students who are trapped at home because of this policy. The students who are not allowed to be their true selves. And make no mistake, the voices that have been repeatedly oppressed by the policies of this very board are finding their strength. And no longer will the oppression of your students go without being answered. These voices remember, so tremble in fear, because these voices also vote. See you in November.
Thank you. Speaker number 68.
Hello, my name is Curtly King. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm a proud parent of 2 students that are now thriving adults that came through the Clovis Unified School District. However, the experiences for both of my children varied widely. One of my children is a trans man. And at 15, when he let me know by a text that was like this long at 3 in the morning, I didn't hesitate to get out of bed and go jump onto my son and love him the same way I would love him if he wanted to be an astronaut or if he wanted to buy a poodle, because he's the destiny, it's his destiny. However, as a person that identifies in this community, if I would have been outed by my school, I would have been dead. I had a parent, because I did try to come out to my parents before anybody. And I had a parent that told me if I was trying to tell them I was gay, they would kill me. So what is your responsibility to your student body? The ones that you are so gratefully by me helping educate, because that's an onerous task. But I don't ask you to educate me as a parent about my children. I built that foundation from their birth by keeping open communication and respectful dignity in all of my relations with them. I ask that you allow that to be the way that families negotiate the problems within families, and that you protect children who find that their families are their most dangerous people in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 69, please.
My name is Chris Jarvis. On Monday, August 28th, the Attorney General of California announced a lawsuit against the Chino Valley Unified School District Board of Education and their mandatory gender identity disclosure policy. This policy requires schools to inform parents with minimal exceptions whenever a student requests a name or pronoun change or requests to use facilities or programs that don't align with their sex on their official records. The Attorney General said when this happened, San Bernardino Superior Court's decision to issue a temporary restraining order rightfully upholds the state rights of our LGBTQ+ student community and protects kids from harm by immediately halting the board's forced outing policy. Attorney General Bonta is also monitoring similar actions in the Anderson Union High School District, Temecula, and Murrieta, and Clovis is headed in this direction. Are we so afraid of those who are different that we choose not to evolve, not to learn? People are so ready to say there's something wrong with these kids. There's nothing wrong with these kids. These kids are brave, courageous, struggling to find their place. They explore their deepest feelings at school because they don't feel safe at home. We've been taught that gender was simple, that boys are boys and girls are girls. That's not true. Gender and identity develop separately from sex. That's science, that's biology. It doesn't make these kids any less. In fact, it makes them more. It makes them special and unique and beautiful. You wonder why these kids don't want to come out to their parents. You saw what happened here tonight. You saw the kind of hatred these people are spewing, and all in the name of religion. I thought what was most ironic about tonight is those little orange or yellow signs they have that says parental rights matter. Not kids' rights matter, but parental rights matter. That says a lot about these people.
Okay, speaker number 70.
Well, gosh, we talk about love and hate and all that, and sure are spitting a lot towards this side. So I guess we throw mud back and forth, I guess. Nobody's innocent in this. But I hear a lot of people, well, let's lie. Let's lie to the parent. Let's lie. That's a slippery slope when you start lying. Why don't we talk about maybe those parents that the children that are coming out or got outed or whatever it is, how about let's do some counseling to these parents? You know, they're going to turn 18 and the parents are going to be the same way. How about let's talk about getting them together, the parent and the child, and let's do some counseling. Because age, 12, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, the parent, if they're not going to change, they're not going to change after they're of age either. But right away, it's like, you know, let's just lie to the parent, let's kick them out. You know, we love our children, and you might not think this, but we do love the LGBTQ community too. You might not think that. I don't hate you. I don't. But when it comes to mama bears and their kids, yeah, we're not gonna let you run over our rights. Those are our children. And like I said, this slippery slope of lying and lying and lying, you got the kids thinking, okay, it's okay to lie. You're conditioning them just like Hitler did, you know, learn behavior, and that's not healthy. How about getting the parent and the child? If the child feels that they are threatened, let's put the parent and the child together. Let's have some counseling. So this will be a change for life. Maybe something like that, but stop kicking the parents out. You know, that's all we're trying to say.
Thank you. Speaker number 71. And speaker 72 and 73 want to come up, that'd be great too. So 71, we're on. Okay, speaker 72, please.
Hi, I'm Brandy, and I want to support the previous statements based on my experience and knowledge. I've served as a school chaplain. For 10 years, I've been involved in local human trafficking prevention collaborations, such as with faith-based organizations, CVJC, as Clinton knows, and with the Child Abuse Prevention Council for 4 years, as well as a school educator and loved one of trans and non-binary persons. From the perspective of all these areas of care, this policy of parental notification is harmful, is antithetical to child abuse prevention prevention for students who would not be safe if outed and risk loss of crucial support and potential abuse, harassment, and rejection, and equating respecting the privacy asked by these students with manipulation of an abuser to keep a secret is objectively false, harmful to actual abuse prevention, and disturbing. A critical statistic, only 1 in 3 queer youth say that they live in an LGBTQ affirming home, according to the Trevor Project. For the other 2/3, being outed can pose a serious safety threat in the home. This risk is greatly increased amongst transgender youth, who are 60% more likely to experience physical abuse than conforming peers, and not in any way minimizing supportive and caring parents. But these need to be recognized. The Polaris Project said, leading anti-human trafficking organization says that 40% of homeless youth identify as queer compared to 7% of the general population. A 2020 report by the UCLA School of Law found that 43% of homeless LGBTQ teens who were kicked out of their homes by unsupportive parents. Polaris Project states that 46% of youth left their homes because of family rejection. Youth who experience homelessness are more vulnerable to commercial sexual exploitation. And Polaris Project mentions that increase for youth and adults trafficking vulnerability is increased by anti-LGBTQ action. They ask instead for support for youth for prevention.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 73, please. Speaker 73. Okay, speaker number 74, please.
Hello, my name is Erica Hawkyard, and I'm the Rural Area Representative for the PRISM Committee. If you don't know, that's the committee working with CDE, Equality California, and LACO to create state-mandated cultural competency training for LGBTQ plus students that your staff and all educators 6 to 12 will be required to take starting next year. They will be very confused when they see your current site plan, as it directly contradicts the training that they will receive. Oh, sorry, my phone fell asleep. I also am a program director for a local LGBT plus center and work closely with other school districts within the Central Valley to address these issues and advocate for students. A study in the Journal of Adolescent Health conducted in 2018 reported that gender diverse students who are supported by LGBTQ plus affirming policies on campus had a 56% drop in suicidal ideation. That's lives saved, okay? On behalf of the queer youth in your district, I ask that you create policies that are informed with research-based interventions and research-based practices like the Family Acceptance Project. And your previous GAP policy already meets those needs. So I encourage you to look at this policy again. It is the responsibility of each school, district, and board to ensure that queer students have a safe school environment, which includes ensuring that students are able to use safe bathrooms, can use pronouns that affirm their identity, and have access to appropriate resources. Gender support plans and cultural competency training for staff creating these policies, and compliance with state law are vital steps towards creating safe environments for LGBT plus youth. And make no mistake, policies, staff training save lives, reduce isolation in queer youth, and create pathways to acceptance. Thanks.
Thank you. Speaker 75, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Chavera, and I'm here as a Clovis Unified mother in support of all children, including our trans and gender nonconforming youth protected by California Assembly Bill 1266, specifically the portion of the law which seems to be the most contentious in our community. A transgender or gender nonconforming student may not express their gender identity openly in all contexts, sadly, including at home. Revealing a student's gender identity or expression to others may compromise the student's safety. Thus, preserving a student's privacy is of the utmost importance to their well-being. The right of a transgender and non-binary student to keep their status private is grounded in California's anti-discrimination laws, including the Public Records Act Ed Code 49060, our California Constitution, and FERPA. FERPA does, by the way, provide several exceptions that permit appropriate communications under circumstances in which the student or others may be at risk of harm. Over and over, these laws seek to protect minors. If no child ever needed protection from their family, there'd be no need for this law, dated back to 2013, but only recently politicized and deemed a broad attack on parents' rights rather than protection in the rare instances a minor chooses not to disclose. I personally find it presumptuous to believe if a student chooses not to disclose to their parent that any one of us know their situation or potential outcome of a forced disclosure better than they understand the depth of the reasons. I have no reason to believe any school staff member is wanting to keep any information from students' family and aren't actively counseling students to share information with their family, even offering to sit down together with them. What I find most concerning, though, would be this board believing you can unilaterally deem it safe for every youth family member to know their gender identity. You're welcome.
Feel free
Thank
to
you for
provide.
listening.
Yeah, absolutely. 76, please. 77, if you'd like to make your way up, that'd be appreciated.
I'm James, parent of kids in the district. I'm confused because I don't understand the purpose of this school district getting involved in situations where it has zero control of the outcome. It doesn't have a fraction of the necessary information about a situation, and if the district continues to choose to get involved, it's going to have a mountain of liability on it. We've heard over and over tonight that parents are responsible for their children. Part, I'd say a lot, of that responsibility is developing a relationship in which their kids are willing to talk to them. Values are different in different homes, but I can't fathom anybody having a relationship with their kids where they don't want to be able to communicate with them. If parents haven't developed that relationship, it is absolutely not the student's or the school's responsibility to step in. It is absolutely not the school's right to divulge that information if the kids don't trust their parents to do it. Many speakers here tonight have talked of the school's responsibility to be teaching reading and writing and math. Where in reading and writing and math is their sexual identity? Even if there was a blanket policy that could cover all of that stuff, how is it going to cover every individual kid? Every situation is different. Every parent is different. Every home is different. Every way that a kid wants to come out or wants to transition is different. There's no policy that can possibly cover all of those. So why write one? Why write one that by definition isn't going to cover everybody? I assume that you are all familiar with the Hippocratic Oath. I know a couple of you have to be. The very first thing is, first, do no harm. This policy will, statistically, do harm. No policy that wouldn't, so don't write one.
Thank you. Speaker number 77. Speaker 77. And if 78 would like to make their way up, that'd be great.
My name is Mandy Lorenzi. I have a student in Clovis Unified, and I am a part of the Alphabet Rainbow, and I have love for everybody. I am also of the intuition that it is in our children's best interest for parents to be aware of what is going on at school. Yes, children should be able to come out to who and when they feel comfortable, but we are talking about more than just sharing a secret with a trusted advisor or coming up with a new nickname at school. We are talking about creating a legally secret life enabled by the school. Now, I took a look at the form, and I do not see a forcible outing there, but rather an assisted outing. I see options on the form for not just things like choosing a new name and pronouns, but restroom or locker room privileges and participating in extracurriculars, presumably off campus. Yes, parents should be consenting to these activities while our kids are in the school's care. We should know. It's not about forcibly outing them to parents. It's about telling the parents when they're attending a locker room of the opposite sex. How many students are so terrified that a change to this policy would make sense? Many children might simply be scared for good reason because it's a big conversation. Making it easy for them to keep it a secret from the most important people in their lives is a huge deception at the hands of the school with lasting consequences for kids and families. Should the district be complicit? Can the district ethically, legally, secretly label parents as abusive without proof and without intervening? Use it as an excuse to switch to a new locker room while still expecting parents to pack lunch and bring the kids to school? If these students are so afraid for their lives, having a policy that makes it easy for them to hide their true identity overlooks the fact that they're living in an unsafe environment, while the existing policy actually involves the principle for any concerns of safety. A permissive policy would actually allow even more at-risk youth to remain in unsafe environments while slipping through the cracks. Not only this, asking teachers, staff, and peers to keep a secret from the parents while the student lives in disguise at school is unethical to all involved and also endangers the student when the parent does find out. It's too much to ask for teachers. It's a tall order for a child to keep their own secret, and it's quite another to require a whole district to do it.
Please yield to the next speaker. Thank you. 78. Speaker 78. Okay, moving on to speaker number 79.
Hello. My name is Leanda Chico. I'm a parent of a Clovis Unified student. I'd like to speak to the issue of parental consent being needed before a school moves forward affirming the gender identity of a student. I don't know how many of you have experience coming out, but as someone who does, I just want to explain that even if you are fortunate enough to have the most accepting parents in the world, the prospect of having a conversation with them about your sexuality or gender can still be incredibly stressful and feel incredibly fraught. Requiring parental notification robs students of their right to navigate these very sensitive and personal issues on their own terms and in their own time, and instead put students in a position where they may have to choose between being closeted and forcibly outed. So I just want to state very clearly, as a parent of a Clovis Unified student, that I am absolutely opposed to requiring parental consent before schools affirm the gender identities of students.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 80. And we don't have an 81, so if 82 would like to make their way up, that'd be appreciated.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Addison Worth, and I'm a proud Clovis North graduate from the class of 2021 and the sister of a little brother who is currently in the 7th grade at Granite Ridge Intermediate School. I'm here this evening to address the current big elephant in the room, and that is the relationship between parents, students, and their schools. As I'm hoping most of you know, parents play an integral part in their students' process as they work alongside teachers and staff to give them the best possible educational experience. However, there are some within our area and our state that would wish to see this cycle end and would rather see children be at the complete beck and call of the school district with absolutely no guidance from the parents. And we aren't talking about a child getting extra math help after school, but something as serious as the supposed changing of a child's gender identity. It is the job of a school district to provide the quality education in a safe learning environment, not to sexualize children. And as of right now, this is not an issue within Clovis Unified. However, there are some here today that would like to make it one. But as a former Clovis Unified student, I know that this district is truly unique, as its primary focus is the quality education and positive well-being of the students they are teaching. So my simple message to the board is to continue doing what you're doing. Respect the parents' right to educate their children in every way they deem which. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 82. Speaker 82. Okay, Speaker 83, please. Speaker 83. Okay, Speaker 84, please.
Good evening, Board President, trustees, Dr. Fulmer. I'm Nasreen Johnson. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a proud member of the queer community. I'm also the board president at State Center Community College District, another educational board in our community that represents Clovis. I also answer to the title of mom as the parent of 2 amazing and really brave teenagers. And I'm a mama bear too. I will move mountains for my children and yours. First, I'd like to give credit and accolades to the Clovis District's Safe Zone program. It's a really important program that educates willing staff to speak and engage with queer and gender expansive youth. It's particularly important that staff now that they can use this training as a designation as a way to remain visible, since there's also a newer policy that limits personal items in the classroom, like rainbow flags. My simple suggestion: offer a safe zone training to parents so that young people can keep their legal right of privacy and parents can learn and earn the trust of their children. As a parent of teens, I also recognize that as much as I'd like them to, as easy as I try to be to get them to talk to me, there are still things they likely won't feel comfortable with sharing with me right away. But this is different than the young people who aren't safe to share who they are at home. The sheer number of LGBTQ runaway, homeless, foster, and trafficked youth show us how unsafe they can be at home. And even though many of us would like to know before our children are contemplating having sex and sexual relationships, there's a state law that says that they can access confidential services without our parental knowledge of that. So I want to give you accolades for following that law now as well, because I understand that that wasn't the case. So you now know that the practice that's been in place hasn't been supported by a board policy. So I ask you to please enact and protect our children's policy, their rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Speaker number 85. Speaker 85. Okay, Speaker 86. Speaker 86. Okay, and lastly, Speaker 87. Speaker 87. Okay, that'll conclude.
Before we conclude, Mr.
Yeah,
Frank, I just would like to, first of all, say thank you to the community and the so many members of our community that came out and shared their opinions and many times their personal stories and journeys. And I hope that they know it was not lost on us as we listened, and I appreciated the respect of our community to honor hearing everyone. We've heard from so many, but I wanted to clarify information because this is not an agenda item where we discuss as a board, but I did want to provide some clarification. Tonight we heard from a few speakers about some current cases out there with Chino Valley and with Escondido. And so I'd like to call Ms. Yang to the podium just briefly to highlight what is in the courts, just to make sure there's a common understanding around the cases that were referenced in some of the comments tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Fulmer, for the opportunity to provide the board with some clarification on the status of the law. As we look across the state and as I work with our outside counsel in this area, we see an area law that is developing and that's evolving. It's not an area law that is well established. What we see going across the state currently is the fact that it's not well established is evident by 3 current lawsuits in the state of California. We have two current lawsuits that are pending before our federal court system, and we have 1 case that's pending before a state of California in court. At this moment, we have 2 rulings that support the rights of students, and we have 1 ruling that supports the rights of parents and teachers on this issue. So as you can see, there's conflicting law at this point in time. I do anticipate, and I will continue to work with our outside counsel to monitor this area. I do anticipate that it will take our court system, both the federal court system and the state court system, several years to give us guidance in this area and clarifications as to how do we handle situations where the rights of parents and the rights of students conflict as they do in this area. And, I think eventually these cases, given the posture of the Litigants in these cases will likely end up in the California Supreme Court and or the U.S. Supreme Court. Unfortunately for school districts like us that are trying to navigate this very important issue, we don't have a lot of guidance to go on. And so as a result of that, you see the conflicting rulings coming out of our federal court system and our state court system. I will continue to monitor and work with our outside counsel and update the board as the law develops in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. Thank you for that clarification. And I do want to clarify a little bit too. There's been a lot of information around our current practice. And I do want to say, I do know and believe that the employees of Clovis Unified care for our kids. I do want that to be something said. They care for our kids. That's why they got in this business, and they have been doing so beautifully for the 64 years of our district. Does not mean we are perfect, but I genuinely believe our employees care for our kids. We have been supporting students and families around this topic since before the passage of AB 1266. And we do look at every child individually and work to make sure they are supported and safe at school. Our existing practices, while we heard a variety of opinions, are centered on balancing the rights of students to access facilities and programs based on their gender identity, and the rights of parents and guardians to access to their children's educational experience at school. Just wanted to provide that clarification for our board at the closing of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I also want to thank the vast majority of our attendees tonight who were respectful during these comments. I'm sure comments with which if people disagreed, and yet I feel like this was generally an orderly meeting, and I really do appreciate our ability to speak through these important issues. And with that, we'll be moving on to our consent agenda. So next is our consent agenda. I'll entertain oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We're going to take actually just a 5-minute break because that was a long time, and then we will come back and do the rest of our meeting. Thank you, everyone. Paging Dina. Okay, if we could start coming back to order here. We are going to resume our meeting here. Once Dina sitting down, I'll bust out. I've never heard this before this meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never used it.
Yeah.
Usually if you start talking.
All right, ready to get the show back on the road. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll keep moving here. Next is our consent agenda. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. All right, next up we have our action agenda. First is going to be the naming of the high school located on the Terry P. Bradley Educational Center. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the name Clovis South High School.
So moved.
Okay, hold on though. For the high school currently under construction at the Terry P. Bradley Educational Center and scheduled to open in August of 2025. I heard a motion by Dr. Fogg and a second by Mr. Olivier. Any discussion? I think it makes sense. We didn't have much.
We haven't really talked. So original.
We publicized this. It was on our information action or our information items in previous agenda, and didn't receive too much input from the community. I think, frankly, that's because it's just a very logical choice, given we have west, north, and east. Anyways, all right, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, that'll carry. Next up is P2. I'll entertain a motion to approve the mentoring agreement with National Impact Mentoring and Training Program as submitted.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next up we have P3, which is the rescission of the governing board's approval on August 16th, 2023 and September 6th, 2023 of external requests for use of district facilities between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. We have several speakers signed up on this agenda item. So first I'll call up number 1, and if number 2 would be willing to get ready here in the front row, that'd be appreciated. Keep it moving.
Hello, and thank you for your endurance and your perseverance, and also for your leadership on the school board. I'm Tammy Beers, Director for CEF of Central Valley South. We are the sponsor of the After School Good News Clubs. I'm here tonight to ask you not to rescind the governing board's approval of the facility use for Good News Clubs, which was passed on August 16th. This is an abrupt stop to the Good News Clubs. 11 of our 18 approved clubs have already begun. They've been under for 2 weeks. Each of these folders represents the schools that we're at. There's over 110 children enrolled right now, and we would certainly like to continue those programs since they were approved prior to the change in policy that happened on September 14th. In addition to that, the counseling of our programs doesn't align with the current statement in the agenda to cancel those reservations where the use occurred as of 9/20, since 7 of those schools had already begun the week of 9/11. It does seem to also contradict the Administrative Policy 1330, Paragraph 7, which was revised on 9/14, stating that the district will provide at least 5 business days notice before there is a cancellation of those reservations. Some of you are aware that the Good News Clubs have existed in Fresno every semester for at least 20 years, and that we have been on 1 or more elementary school during that time. There's never been a complaint or any problem registered. I know because I have been with CEF for those 20 years, 15 as a staff person and 12 as the director in Fresno, Madera, Tulare, and Kings County. We would like to urge you to refrain from canceling our CEF's pre-approved clubs for this upcoming year, and we would like to be able to provide any support to you, as a board to be able to move forward.
Thank you so much. Feel free, of course, to email us any additional information you have. Speaker number 2, please. Green item number 2. Okay, speaker number 3, please.
Hello again, Dennis McCourt. I want to thank the school board for this opportunity to support the Good News Clubs and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I'm here also to support and express love for all students. That's why this is so important for LGBTQ, for trans kids, for straight kids, to have the Good News Clubs there, because it's about good news. There's good news. There's hope. And students need to have access to this, and they've had decades of support from the community, from parents, and from previous school boards. And I have to tell you, I appreciate the history of Clovis Unified, and I appreciate the support that you have historically given to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the Good News Clubs. But I want to encourage you to reconsider the kind of under the table. Let's kind of try to walk the line here. Let's keep it under wraps. Let's not stir anything up, and let's just kind of try to navigate through some unknown wisdom that is going to resolve the problem. This should have been brought out originally. When someone wants to bring a Satan club into the school, you should just put it out on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's not hide it, and let's realize that the good news always wins against the bad news. And so other school districts, I'm not asking you to do this. I think there should be a recognition that there's not a moral equivalency to a Satan club and a Good News Club. That's kind of common sense. And so I would ask you, please, let's put it on the table. Let's be brave. Let's be courageous. It's not about this lawsuit. It's not about that lawsuit. It's about doing the right thing and standing up for the history of Clovis Unified and standing up for students and allowing them to have all of the best opportunities afforded to them, because we're courageous, we're standing up, and we're making it very clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 4, please. Do we have a speaker number 4? Okay, speaker number 5.
Thank you, Board Superintendent, for letting me speak again. I second what the previous two said. I think it's very important that we have these clubs after school, both the Good News Club and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I would ask that you refrain from canceling any of those. This is something that we, again, like he said, take it head on. Do what you got to do, and let's not try to put things under the carpet. It's really easy to sit back and say, oh, we're just going to do this so we don't have to have this. Let the community decide, but I would refrain from canceling those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 7.
Hello, my name is Brent Burdine, and I ask you not to cancel these clubs. As my understanding, the Good News Club versus Milford School District was a court case in 2001. It was already settled that this type of club can be on campus. It has many complaints. As myself, when I was younger at Jefferson Elementary, there were clubs, it wasn't this club, but there's other clubs that myself and friends participated in. Later on, I was in FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in school. And one thing about being in Clovis, with a fantastic school system and the facilities we have, being part of the community and being able to come to these school sites, all made us more part of the community, and we're all able to enjoy it. And I don't understand why you want to stop clubs from being on campus. If they're not disruptive, if they're not destroying the facilities, you know, this is all part of our community. And so I'm asking you to reconsider and not cancel the clubs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 7, please. And after that, we will have speaker 10. Speaker number 7. Okay, the other speakers are on a different agenda item, so speaker number 10, please.
Hello again, Tracy Boren. I'm a Clovis resident, taxpayer, parent. In accordance with the Supreme Court ruling of the Good News Club versus Milford Central School, which was just mentioned, it's clear that school districts cannot selectively determine who has access to school facilities. Yet in the case of Clovis Unified, we've seen policies being modified to deny the LGBTQ community network rightful access. Timeline tells a story. Our application was received December of 2022, blocked in January of 2023, accepted again on September 6th, only to be denied a second time on the 14th. The law is unequivocal. It's either all rentals or none. Continuing to allow other groups to meet while denying access would put the district in violation of the law. Let's uphold the principles of fairness and equal access for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have speaker 14. Speaker 14. After that will be 15, 16, 17.
Yes, I am Forrest Risch, and we moved to Clovis in 1978 and raised 3 wonderful boys through the Weldon and Buchanan. And their names were David, Daniel, and Joshua, so you can tell where we're coming from. In the Good News Club, the children learn the Golden Rule, the 10 Commandments. They learn about the Bible. They learn right from wrong. They learn forgiveness, to get along. So what they're learning is what it's gonna take them through life to be successful in all relationships. Now, if the club is forced to move to later in the afternoon, like the 6 or 7 p.m., you might as well just cancel the club. The kids aren't going to come back. Parents are going to bring their kids back at that hour of the day. I would rather see all clubs being allowed rather than to eliminate the most important club on campus, in my opinion, is to study the Word of God for reasons that are obvious. Even tonight's meeting is obvious that there's a need for a Good News Club, especially for families who don't attend church, so students have a chance to learn what they need to learn. I'd rather see a Satan club alongside of a club that shows the light, because the light is always going to win over the darkness, and that's been substantiated in many schools that have various clubs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Speaker 15, please.
My name is Ron Nelson. I am the Director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes in the middle of California. I've been here since 2001 and been a coach at Clovis Unified. My wife's taught here, Clovis Unified, 3 kids, Zach, Sam, and Ruthie, all through Clovis Unified. We love Clovis Unified and what you guys have done for our kids. Mother Ruthie is on the low scale of autism, and you guys came around as a team with parents. I got brought into the office over at Jefferson, and I thought I was in trouble. And I had all these people coming around, and they said, we have a plan for your daughter. She's going to make it, and I'm super grateful. Tonight I heard the word truth, and everybody has a different, everybody that came to here, they're looking for truth, and they think they have what truth is and what is right, and their rights, and how do we find rights, and how do we find truth? Man, that's on you guys. You got to find, there is only one truth. Not everybody has their own truth. There's got to be a true truth out there. And when it comes to making decisions, we got to find truth, and the truth is not based on feelings. Feelings are great, but feelings can lie to you. As I'm going down Blackstone and I see that Krispy Kreme sign going off, and I feel like I could be in trouble. But facts are your friends. You will find truth from the Good News Clubs and FCA. And that's where we pour into students, especially FCA, that we talk about what it is to play for God's glory, and there's purpose in your life in playing a sport. That's not your identity, but you find out how you could be a light on your campus, and there is truth there. And we are developing young people to be better in our community, to make our community better. I want to ask you, let's continue the Good News Club and FCA. We make a positive, eternal difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 17, please.
I think I'm the last one, right? We get to go home?
Speaker 19.
Oh, sorry, my bad. All right. Hey, I too, I want to see the Good News Club and the FCA continued as well. I would also like to see the LGBTQ Community Network a lot on campus. There really are only two right choices here. Legally, it really is all or nothing. If you're going to be consistent, if you're going to follow the law, either everybody gets in or nobody gets in. I don't want to see anybody go away. I don't. My kids probably aren't going to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. My kids probably aren't going to the Good News Club. My kids probably also aren't going to the LGBTQ network. But guess what? I love it that they're all there and they're all available. What it looks like, and I hope this isn't true, what it looks like is that you guys changed the rules when somebody you didn't like came along. It looks like the LGBTQ network applied, asked to come in. Somebody in the administration went, we don't want that. And the only way to stop it was to go, we'll cut it off. Cut everything off. It's cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's the definition of it. Like, every person in here still at 11 o'clock, 11:30, oh my God. Every single person in here is here because they want somebody to have access to those clubs. Not all three necessarily, but one of them. Why wouldn't you offer that? And if you're not, you're taking it away from everybody. How many hundreds of kids of all stripes are you just taking something away from? Follow the law. Give people good news. Give people the access that they want. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And finally, speaker number 19, please. Speaker number 19. Okay. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to rescind the governing board's approval on August 16th, 2023 and September 6th, 2023 of external requests FR 231 through FR 2350 for use of district facilities between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. where the use has not occurred as of September 20th, 2023.
Before we take that, could
well,
I?
we can discuss after there's been a motion.
Well,
but
no, I would just like maybe Corinne to give us maybe a little history of why this is on here, or would you want to take a vote first? Why do we even have this on the agenda? I mean, why are we having this on here right now?
Well, we may not have it at all until someone,
Okay.
we need to have a motion and a
I
second.
move. We
Okay.
accept this.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, second. So now we can have discussion, and so I'll turn over the floor to you there, Steve.
Well, no, so this is something, I just kind of maybe give us a little history of, because we, at one point last year, we decided, you know what, we're going to close our campuses up. We're going to, because we have 35,000 requests to use time during school hours for non-Clovis Unified events. So at one point, I'm on the subcommittee that looks at facilities and looks at usages and looks at us building and what we're paying for. So at one point, we said, hey, we're going to stop doing this. And then we said, okay, we're going to start approving these, because if we have a limited amount of space, this is my understanding. If we have a limited amount of space, we want to approve those that we think would be in the best interest of our kids, especially because we don't want clubs to take up everything, of our education time. Because the schools we build are not for clubs. It's for education. It's for teaching our kids how to read and write. We've heard that. So I was a little afraid if we say, okay, we're going to open this back up, and it was said that means everyone has to be able to come in. Doesn't matter how many clubs apply. We have to let them all in. Is that true? So they potentially can take every moment we have on our campus. Is that true?
we've had systems in place to navigate, but in trying to change, what happened in my understanding is, remember, we're in transition here, but at the end of the year, there was a sense of, after having protected the instructional day from 7 to 6, there was a desire to set up a process in which we could go through approvals to still protect, but provide outside groups access to our school sites. That process is quite cumbersome, and I assume from those who have applied through that process, it's confusing. And it was not always timely, as was our previous practice. And you're right, Dr. Fogg, in that we've had, on average, about 35,000 facility requests a year for our facilities. One of the other components that compounds the use of our facilities going into this year is this is one factor. There are a lot of factors for trying to navigate the use of our facilities. But we have received extra dollars called ELOP, and that has greatly expanded our after-school programs. We've titled that Expanded Learning Club. We've grouped Campus Club, ACES, those things. It has grown almost in the numbers of 500 with a wait list of about 1,000. With us looking to hire more staff, that impacts our facilities as well. I think that one of the things that you're highlighting is that, yes, we've had where we have previously approved groups for a facility through our new process that came from the governing board. And while we always try to work, and we know our outside groups, who we appreciate, try to work with us, is that we did have to tell a school site that that facility had already been reserved, which they needed for one of their school programs that had a dramatically increased enrollment on a chess team. And so this is a tough decision, but I do want to clarify for the board that it is not that our outside groups do not have access to our facilities. It is about protecting an instructional day from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is when the end of our after-school programs finish. I don't know if that clarified for you.
Yeah, no, because I believe our facilities are built for our community to use. I think, it's their money, they build it, I think it belongs to them. And I think it'd be great if we could say, hey, everyone that comes in, we have room for them. If you're saying that won't be true, that if we start opening this up to anyone that, and it starts a snowball, we will lose the ability to have our schools to educate our kids. It is our job as a board to protect that educational time. So that's why I think that even though I would like to have these clubs on, I think there's a role for every one of them. The schools were not built for clubs. It was built for education, and I think if you feel we need to protect that by saying we need to rescind that we thought we were going to run, then we need to rescind it, and we need to just preserve that for education, for Clovis Unified to use, not to give it to outside facilities, and that's why I would support this.
I have a couple of quick questions. The school sites are available after 6 p.m., correct?
If this motion carries with the board's discretion, yes, we would have a protected time. The AR that has been adopted protects the time from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And all comers are welcome after 6 p.m. Anybody
yes,
that wants to utilize the facility after 6 p.m.
That was of ease, that just gets applied to the district, doesn't require the process that we had in place for within the instructional day.
Okay, and then clarify for me, we're talking about this, what we're doing is for elementary sites only, correct?
Yes, we are, you saw a few things tonight. Our secondary sites are not often available because every bit of those facilities is being used. Some rare exceptions being athletic fields under lights in the late hours, but our secondary sites are extremely busy with student-led clubs, with co-curriculars, with all of those things. That this really is an elementary issue in the 7 to 6, but we'll apply it universally.
Okay, thank you. And that's my question. So this vote that we're taking does not have anything to do with oversight jurisdiction of high schools.
No, that's not true.
No, This applies universally to
Right,
all
it's
school sites.
universally,
But
but if-
where our outside groups during that instructional day tend to have access is on our elementary sites, because our high school sites have always had a process in which we are busy till the evenings. We do have athletic fields, weekends that our secondary sites often are used.
But clubs at the high school, at the secondary level, are student-run,
So,
correct? They're
I
administered by the
understand what you're
students
asking.
themselves.
We have processes at the secondary schools where we have clubs. We don't have that at the elementary level. We have teams and co-curriculars. In fact, our staff are often busy trying to field the team. So, but at the secondary level, we do have student-led clubs, but
Right.
those are internal, run-by-student clubs that exist on our campuses.
Okay.
But in clarification that this applies to every school, including secondary, Clint, which means that outside clubs, not run by Clovis Unified Clovis Schools, can't come in either.
But if it's run by the students.
Yeah, but that's Clovis Unified.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things.
Sure.
So at the secondary level, we have student-led clubs.
Right.
That is a big part of our engagement strategies with our students. And there are a wide variety from, you name it, of student-led clubs. There's criteria of a constitution that they meet
Sure.
and interest. Those are student-sponsored, run by students during the day. They have Club Rush, which you've heard about in our student board
Yes.
reports. This matter from the 7 to 6 is referring to outside organizations that like to use our facilities during that time of 7 to 6.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, my personal perspective is that FCA and Good News Club are good for kids and they're worth the fight. So I'd urge a no vote on this. Anyone else need to talk before we do our vote?
No, I just want to concur with you, David. I've talked to quite a few religious people in the community, and they kind of have the view, either let them all or none, you know, and I believe that good news is also a good thing worth fighting for, so I would also encourage no.
Thank you. With that, we'll, oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, interject here real quick, David, thank you. I don't know that I'd necessarily say that this is a fight. Dr. Fulmer has kind of explained where we're at in terms of kind of overuse or a demand for our facilities, like Dr. Fogg was inquiring about. So I guess for me, it's important for us to try to remember that we're not getting rid of these clubs. I think someone might have said that a couple of times. We're getting rid of Good News Club, and we're not doing that. We're just saying that we're going to keep the focus, our focus as a board, on our priority is educating our students. And so if during the school day, we need to use our facilities to educate our students, that's what we're prioritizing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Good News Club can still meet along with many other clubs. And, you know, if we think about it, oftentimes many times the Bible has shown us that Christians always rise in the face of adversity. So if we're looking at this as an obstacle, this could be a chance for growth for Good News Club. And as a parent, I think somebody said that parents may not take their students. I mean, I'm driving around at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, taking kids to jujitsu and dance and piano and all sorts of things. And so for our family, Good News Club is important. My kids are a part of it. And so I'd be willing to take them in the evenings too, just to put that out there.
Thank you.
You mentioned fight. You know, the thing is, David, yeah, I mean, if you say if this is a fight to preserve our schools for education, our school time. I mean, if that's what we're talking about, do we want to fight for it to be for clubs or for education? And that's what I think our schools are for education. And if that's the time we need, then
I think
clubs take a secondary role to education for us as a public school district.
I think partnering with our community to provide quality after-school and before-school programs is definitely within our jurisdiction and is part of our role. But I respect your position on it. But yeah, I think I've kind of said my piece about it. And anyone else want to speak before we do our vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No.
No.
Okay, that will carry. Lori, were you able to